Jonathan Taylor missing the first month. This is going to hurt my teams. This is going to change drafts, and I need to go through, hop into some more fantasy football drafts and see if I can try to save my season. Of course, we only need one draft to go our way, ladies and gentlemen. If we win this one draft, this one tournament, we're done. I'm going to beach in Maui. And I am sipping on a pina colada, okay? This is a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize, $15 million prize pool tournament on Underdog Fantasy, the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. Let's go ahead. Let's hop in this bad boy, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully we are able to save our season and save it from us drafting Jonathan Taylor in 15% of my fantasy football drafts. Also going to be super interested to see where Jonathan Taylor goes in these drafts. I try to get a sense of where Jonathan Taylor was going earlier today in the live stream as soon as the news broke, but Jonathan Taylor went pick 32. I'm going to assume that was when a team took him, not really seeing the news, not understanding that Jonathan Taylor would be missing the first 4 weeks. So I think we see Taylor fall a considerable amount. Now the question is, would we take Jonathan Taylor at pick 37 if he makes it to us? That's the primary question, ladies and gentlemen, but let's go ahead and let's get this going, ladies and gentlemen. We got David out here in this draft with us at pick 3. Thank you so much for coming out. We got BP in this draft with us at pick 6 as well. And everybody already trying to save me from myself, telling us not to take Jonathan Taylor there at 37. Unknown G coming out, says 10-team happy VR, 3 wide receiver double flex. We can start 5 wide receivers, slam them. CMC, Adams, Hurts, DK, Brees, Goddard, London, Herbert, Davis, Sutton, P. Ryan, Johnston, Elijah Mitchell, Michael Gallup, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, KJ Osborne. What are your thoughts? I actually like the team be quick to cut Clyde Edwards-Helaire if he doesn't have the role that you're looking for week 1. But in this style league where you can actually start up to 5 wide receivers, here I'm actually fine if you wanted to go through and roster someone like Michael Gallup or KJ Osborne at the very end, my friend. Okay, we got Austin in this draft with us at 11. That's Austin Smith. And we got a different Austin in this draft with us at pick 10. Happy to see y'all. Happy to see y'all. Beach Wales has just signed up using Flog first time on Underdog. Hell yes, my man. Hopefully you have some fun out here. Hopefully you don't take Jonathan Taylor as much as I did. And of course, if y'all want to get into these drafts with us every single night, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is the same place where you see all these season-long pick'ems in our videos, such as, right now, I'd imagine a lot of y'all are really going to like this one. DJ Moore, 4.5 receiving touchdowns, 800 receiving yards on the season. I imagine most people think DJ Moore scores more than 4 receiving touchdowns this next year. But of course, if you want to check out those or get in a draft with us, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK's going to get you 100% a positive match. Also going to get you our 2023 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 Fantasy Football rankings. And these are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 on Underdog last season. We're going to go CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley out the gates. And last but not least, promo code FLOCK and only promo code FLOCK is also going to get you an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em week 1, more than less than half a passing yard. So take advantage of that. We're my butt off to get it for y'all. But yeah, we're going to go Lamb, Saquon Barkley here at the 1-2 turn. And I believe our next question coming out from Tim Jenkins, who says, I have Jalen Hurts and Diggs. Should I try to formulate a trade, trading Jalen Hurts for Josh Allen? If you can get a significant upgrade elsewhere on your roster, then sure. But Devin says, please help. It's a 10-team PPR where I have Herbert, Bijan, Madison, Kupp, Waddle, Ridley, Higbee. And then on the bench, Everett, Mike Williams, Jameson, Odell, Zay Flowers, and Alvin Kamara on the IR. I'm fine rostering 2 tight ends if Tyler Higbee is our top guy. I think this is a solid squad because we can put Alvin Kamara on the IR. If you didn't get to put Kamara on the IR at the beginning of the season, I think we would have some issues. But no, I think this is a great team, my man. I like it. Okay, highlight says, do I trade Waller and Evans for Mark Andrews if I have Lamar? If it's a league where you're going to start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, I would, my friend. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And Lewis says, who do you think has the best chance to start for Indianapolis the first few weeks? And would you drop Elijah Mitchell to pick him up? It's probably Deion Jackson, but the thing is, you may get Kareem Hunt signing. You may get Leonard Fournette signing. And I don't even know if we can start Deion Jackson, even if he is the starter, right? So I'll let you know that I personally am not rushing to pick up any Indianapolis Colts RB. I think you have a split between Evan Hull and Deion Jackson. I think Anthony Richardson takes all the rushing touchdowns. I'd probably rather have Elijah Mitchell over any Indianapolis running back. Can everybody please spam the chat? Because this is something I don't know. This is, something that is up in the air. I need y'all to know, let me know, who would you rather roster? Elijah Mitchell or an Indianapolis Colts running back? And if it's that Colts running back, whether it's Evan Hull or Deion Jackson, let me know who in the chat. So Elijah Mitchell, Evan Hull, Deion Jackson, who would you rather roster in fantasy right now? We got Zach Moss out here. Throw Zach Moss there if you want. Evan Hull, Mitchell. Yeah, it looks like everybody's with Elijah Mitchell here. Because the thing is, we at least know that we can start Elijah Mitchell if something happens to CMC. Alex says, is Hunt or Fournette an option? Because them then. Yeah, I would agree. If Kareem Hunt signs in Indianapolis, then I go through and I cut Elijah Mitchell for Kareem Hunt, if that's our worst player on our team. Now, Cody says in a 12-team Superflex league, I have Herbert, Russ, CJ, Saquon, Walker, Kamari, Gibson, Singletary, Kenny Golladay. What the hell? Cut Kenny Golladay, my man. T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Tyler Boyd, Jonathan Mingo, David Njoku. Yeah, cut Kenny Golladay. Go pick up literally anybody else. Unless it's Kenny G. Oh, no, Kenneth Gainwell. Never mind. I apologize. I'm an idiot. I'm fine rostering the depth wide receivers here just because we don't have a wide receiver 2 that we're super confident with. I do like it, though. And Jalopy Sausage says, what's up, Flock? We fly together. We die together. Yes, a lot of us have Jonathan Taylor, and that's almost the more painful thing than me having Jonathan Taylor with all my teams is the fact that I know a lot of y'all followed me when I was drafting Jonathan Taylor in round 3, chasing upside. And I want to reiterate, I owe y'all a massive, massive apology. It's on me. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Do I accept the trade for wide receiver depth in Elijah Moore for their Ezekiel Elliott or JSN or Pacheco? I would sell Elijah Moore for JSN or Pacheco immediately. And if you're telling me you lost Jonathan Taylor and you really need a running back, then you can trade Elijah Moore for Zeke if you really want to. And Far From Par Golf says 12-team keeper league. I kept Tyreek in the second, ended up with Fields, Bijan. How the hell did we get? Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Christian Kirk, Laporta, James Cook, Pickens, Flowers. I really like you. You just can't start Sam Laporta week 1. I think Laporta has upside in the long term, but Laporta is not somebody you can bank on early on in the season. Okay. But ETN off the board. Let's swing this back around. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. If you want to be our 200th like on the stream, please go down there and hit that button. Oh, what am I supposed to do? Oh, my gosh. We'll take Christian Watson, definitely. I don't know who our other pick is. I'll let y'all pick our other guy. I'm going to go Christian Watson for this one. We start Saquon, CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson. Who do y'all want round 4? Are we going Christian Watson or Ramondre Stevenson, or do y'all want to go elsewhere? Everybody spam the chat. Let me know, who do you want here at the 401? We got a JT vote. Stevenson, Mixon. Stevenson, Mixon. Stevenson, JT, Stevenson, Fields, JT, Mixon, Stevenson. It looks like most people are saying Ramondre Stevenson. So we will go ahead. We will take Ramondre 37. It just feels so damn gross to do this. Fantasy football draft seems so much more difficult now that you have the injuries to guys like Judy, Terry McLaurin. You have the Jonathan Taylor news. I mean, across the board, things are just getting tough out here, ladies and gentlemen. And Diana coming out happy to see says, how do you rank quarterback, tight end, running back rankings in a 10-team league with 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, double flex? And are the 2023 rankings on flockfantasy.com for redraft? Yes. So on flockfantasy.com, we have Superflex Dynasty. It's going to be for Superflex Dynasty. Dynasty 1 quarterback, Dynasty 1 quarterback. We have Best Ball. That's going to be for Underdog. And we also have 2023 rankings, which will be for your regular redraft format and that you can use for this league. The only thing I'd say is in a 10-team league, you do want to push up tight end a little bit more than those rankings that were made for a 12-team format. Outside of that, those rankings should really help you in this format. Bodie coming out says, yo, Mason, you won me my first league last season. Hoping to go back-to-back. Need a draft advice for a 10-team league with 1 flex. It's an ESPN league. All love. Thank you so much for coming out. Say if it's a 10-team ESPN league with only 1 flex, unless you get a great value at wide receiver, don't take wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. The thing is, wide receiver values are going to be incredible in the middle rounds of those formats, where I generally want to be making sure that we get an elite level tight end when we can, and especially an elite level quarterback as well, knowing how high of a percentage they're going to make of our starting lineup output overall. Now that Vietnamese guy coming out says, how are we feeling with Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Jonathan Taylor, and Lamar to start? Other running backs on my roster include Dobbins, James Cook, Rashad White, and Elijah Mitchell. Do I stay put? This is where we maybe change our mind and we say you can go wide receivers early on, right? If you have Chase, St. Brown, Waddle out the gate. Taylor round 4 obviously looks way more brutal now than it did, but if we have the elite level wide receivers like this and somehow got Lamar in round 5, love the team. I think you stay put and really hope that we can just get by through the first month of the season. Now, Brett says, rate the 14-team ESPN full PPR league where we have Dak, Bijan, ETN, Lamb, Ridley, Ingram, Judy. The bench is Zay, P. Ryan, Thielen, Zach Swift. Who do we flex week 1? Ooh, who do we flex week 1? I'm assuming Zach C. You meant to say Zach Moss. Unless I'm an idiot and I'm blanking on someone and pulling my Kenny Golladay moment from earlier. Can everybody in the chat let me know who's Zach C if it's not intended to be Zach Moss? Okay. Oh, Zach Charbonnet. Sorry. Just haven't seen him typed out like that. Okay. We can't start Zach Charbonnet week 1. I think you are going to go ahead. I think that you're actually probably going to roll the dice on DeAndre Swift. Very scary situation overall, right? But I mean, it's a 14-team league. You have to go a little bit deeper. You're not going to have Jerry Jeudy right away. I think it's going to be a really good team once we get Jerry Jeudy. Till then, it's going to be tough. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Taylor is still available. This idiot right here who is drafting Jonathan Taylor round 3 is now watching Jonathan Taylor fall past Alvin Kamara in this draft. I know a lot of people in the chat, and BP there, 54, takes Deontay over him. I know a lot of people are saying that Jonathan Taylor may not be playing this next year. I mean, Lockett goes now. How far does he fall? This is the first draft I've really been in to see him fall post this news. I don't know what's normal for him falling anymore. Tommy No says JT and Waller for Chubb and Frymuth, though. Obviously, at this point, you're going to go Chubb and Frymuth. And yes, I saw that earlier, my man. And great Chubb and Frymuth deal. And we got a Jeep guy, Bush Sports out here. Oh, it's a tough day, my man. I mean, I'm feeling the pain too. I'm feeling the pain. CP3 coming out says JT Gibbs for Christian Watson, Mike Williams. Which side wins? Definitely JT Gibbs. I mean, Gibbs over the other guy is almost straight up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do it. Okay, here's your one chance. If you want to try to convince me to not take Jonathan Taylor, go to the live chat right now and let me hear your explanation. This is a $25 buy-in. This is a $3 million first place prize tournament. I'm sorry. I understand he's missing the first 4 weeks. even if there's a 10% chance, 20%, 30, even if it's a 50% chance he doesn't play this year, which I don't think it's that high at all, I have to go ahead and I have to take Jonathan Taylor here. I have to do it. I'm sorry. We're taking Taylor 60. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Christian Kirk, pair him up with Christian Watson, have the all Christians team out here, and we'll see if we can make it work, ladies and gentlemen. We will see if we can make this bad boy work. Oh my gosh. This is interesting. This is interesting. I just don't know if I can take Miles Sanders over Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if I can take Alexander Madison over Jonathan Taylor. Let me go ahead and grab a screenshot of this and tweet this picture out just because I need to hear as many thoughts on this as I possibly can get. Okay, let me pull up our donations real quick. Just make sure I'm not going to be missing any of these as we wait for me to pull up the full list. Curve Square Store, long time member of the flock, says good to see you again. First pick in a 10-team double flex league. Should I focus on wide receivers rounds 1 through 3 or go for high-end quarterback and tight end? I'd say round 1, you're going to go with Jefferson. And because it's only a 10-team league, I definitely am going to be looking to go with the elite level quarterback if we can get one at the 2-3 turn. I don't think Andrew's going to make sense there at the 2-3 turn in a 10-team league, however. So I'm going to go with Jefferson, an elite quarterback there in the second. And then round 3, most likely just best player available, my friend. Okay. Now, after we take Kirk, McLaurin falls down to 67, obviously dealing with the toe sprain. You are going to see him fall. Okay. Now, CB3, oh no, we already answered that one. So, okay, we're actually in line with these. Perfect. So, next question coming out from, I believe, Mike, who says, drafting in an 18-team league tonight with pick 7 and only 1 flex. Any advice is appreciated. Can't imagine what the picks will be like late in draft. Yeah, late in draft, they're going to be tough. Honestly, I think these underdog drafts should help you out, just given how deep you have to go. You have to go 18 rounds in these underdog drafts. Pick 7, I definitely think you have to stay very flexible. I'm willing to punt tight end in an 18-team league, so I actually may opt to go with a wide receiver or running back compared to Travis Kelce there in round 1, just because it is going to be much harder to find that depth at wide receiver running back in this format. Kittle makes it down to 74 in this draft. This is a wild draft, ladies and gentlemen. Mike coming out says, drafted Sunday in a 12-team full PPR at pick 4 double flex. We have Jalen Hurts, CMC, Alexander Madison, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Dalton Schultz, Tyler Lockett, James Cook, John Dotson, Khalil Herbert, Juju, Charbonnet, Mooney, Mingo, Warren. Just generally, I don't necessarily know if we're super pumped to go through and roster Darnell Mooney, Jonathan Mingo at the very end of this. I mean, right now, if we're looking at our wide receiver room, we have AJ, we have Deontay, we have Lockett. I mean, we have some quality running backs we can put in the flex. We also have Dotson, we have Juju. I don't know if we're going to be rostering 7 wide receivers. I probably do let go of Darnell Mooney here in favor of a running back off the waiver wire. You can go get one of the Indianapolis guys, go get Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, maybe if they sign. We have the elite level quarterback, though. I really do like this team. And actually, you know what I'd probably do instead? I'd probably drop Mooney and go pick up another tight end, because if we have Dalton Schultz as our number 1 option, I don't know if we're super pumped to only have that guy. Now, Julian says, 12-team PPR double flex. Bijan JT, oh, brutal, my man, I'm sorry. Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, Chris Godwin, Hollywood, Bateman, Elijah Moore, Fry Mutua. What are we thinking? I'm thinking we are going to have to keep our head above waters for the first 4 weeks. It's going to be much more difficult in a league where you have 2 flex spots, where depth's going to be a little bit harder to come by overall. At least we have all those solid wide receivers that we can go through and put in the flex spot. So we're essentially just having to see if we can survive at RB2 until week 5 gets here. But if that happens, I think you will be in a good spot, my friend. Now, we are going to go ahead. We are going to take Brandon Cooks here as our wide receiver 4 to set ourselves up with the Dallas double stack with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Dak Prescott. And we'll go ahead. We'll take James Conner as our 4th running back. I mean, with James Conner, this is an RB that is on a tanking team. Well, yes, I think that there are serious red flags with the overall offense that you have in Arizona. Not only the overall offense that you have with the Cardinals, but at the same time, I mean, the fact that he is going into his age 28 season, there are serious red flags with James Conner, but this is the cheapest you'll ever see him drafted. Like if you look at Yahoo, if you look at ESPN, if you look at NFL Network, if you look at FFPC, James Conner goes cheaper on Underdog than literally anywhere else. So if you were ever going to draft James Conner, it makes sense to do so in an Underdog draft in round 8. Now, Tawny coming out says 10-team at PBR. Quarterback, we have Hurts. Running back, we have Stevenson, Madison, Akers. Wide receiver, Jefferson, St. Brown, Ridley, Lockett, JSN. Tight end, we have Goddard. Don't beat yourself up over JT, bro. Love the vids. No, thank you so much. And you are saying this because you don't have Jonathan Taylor. I'm telling you right now, the other people that have Jonathan Taylor and drafted him in round 3 because of my rankings are not feeling the same way. They are going through and they are probably telling me, Mason, feel as bad as you possibly can. You're an idiot. And they honestly should feel that way. Phenomenal team. I think we wait until JSN comes back. And if JSN's about to come back, then at that point, then we try to trade Lockett and Madison in a package to get a running back upgrade. But let's move this down. And our next question coming out from, I believe, Dang Shoot. Thank you so much, my man, for the donation. Says, Dynasty PBR, 1 quarterback, 10-team league, where we're currently rocking with Russ, Kyler, Bryce Young, and Trey Lance. The roster in 4 QBs here, my man. We also have Gibbs, Etienne, Hall, Akers, Bigsby, Roschon, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Okay, so definitely a contending team. We have some wide receiver depth. Tight end, we have Njoku Komet. A.J. Brown for DK Metcalf / Daniel Jones, yes or no? Hell to the no, my man. In a 1 quarterback dynasty format, we have more than enough roster spots allocated to the quarterback position. If we were going to be making a play for a quarterback, the last thing we want to do is trading for another of these like quarterback 2 options in dynasty, even if Daniel Jones has the upside given his rushing ability. I mean, A.J. Brown is in a completely different tier than DK Metcalf. I think the move, if you wanted to make one, would be to more so go and try to trade Treylon Burks and like Kyler Murray to go get a quarterback upgrade for this season if you felt like you didn't have enough quarterback production to contend right away. The last thing I want to be doing here in a 1 quarterback league where we're already rostering 4 guys, even if it's a deeper dynasty format, my friend, is going through and trading for like another quarterback 2 type, rostering 5 quarterbacks, and then just sacrificing some of the elite level production at wide receiver. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 400 likes in this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, help us get to 400, and hopefully help us manifest Jonathan Taylor actually returning to come back and play this next season. That's the main thing we kind of want to see. But Tua goes 99, Antonio Gibson off the board, pick 100. And of course, if y'all also want to get into our next draft with us, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next day, we're doing this every single night till 2024. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And also, only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get access to an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em, more than less than half the passing yard week 1 against the Jets, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. But the purple-headed yogurt slinger says, thoughts on Mahomes, Bijan, Taylor, Hopkins, Nico, Pitts, Michael Thomas, and on the bench, Deion Jackson, Devin Singletary, Kyren Williams to replace Ford Taylor. The primary focus of this team should actually kind of be wide receiver 2, right? I mean, we're sitting here with Michael Thomas, Nico Collins, they're wide receiver 2 and 3. I don't necessarily know if we want to be rostering only running backs down there on the bench. I mean, depth matters overall with this team. I don't want to roster all those bench running backs. Definitely not Kyren Williams. Don't be picking up Kyren Williams. I have no idea why we would do that. Now, Hood Jellyfish says, Christian Watson over Dobbs with love. Why? By the way, hey, no. Thank you, my man, for coming out because Christian Watson is a much better wide receiver. I'm going to keep it super simple here. Christian Watson is a much better wide receiver than Romeo Doubs. Christian Watson had 2.6 yards per route run as a rookie. The only other players that were at that range last year in fantasy, were Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. Like, Christian Watson's elite. I love Christian Watson. And he was a better prospect than Romeo Doubs as well. So yeah, I really don't have a lot of hesitation in going through a draft to Christian Watson over Doubs. Now, we're going to take the combination of both Dak Prescott as well as Daniel Jones. This is clearly something you want to do in a best ball format. Wouldn't be super pumped to take two quarterbacks this early in your regular redraft league. But here we get Dak Prescott for the double stack of CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. And we get Daniel Jones paired up with Saquon Barkley as well. And I actually do like some of the options that we'll have later on when it comes to the wide receiver options for Daniel Jones. But Quinn Beasley coming out says, Mahomes, Tyreek, Higgins, Ramadre, Walker, Kmet, Mike Evans, Javonte Pickens on the bench. How are we feeling? Love the team overall. I think if Kmet's your tight end, you're going to be wanting to roster another tight end as well down there on the bench. But yeah, I love the team. Obviously, it's hard to argue with Mahomes there. It's Maggie says, who are your guys this year like Jacobs in 2022? I'll say Travis Etienne round 4 is going to be the closest thing I can find to Josh Jacobs this year. In reality, Travis Etienne most likely is not going to have the same type of season as Josh Jacobs last year. With Kyle Pitts now falling behind like Zay Flowers in drafts, I wasn't really advocating for Kyle Pitts 2 months ago whenever he was going about 10, 15 picks before this. But now that he's fallen so much over the past 2 weeks, I've been drafting the hell out of Kyle Pitts. Like, I don't have him in like a ton of drafts so far just because earlier this offseason, we weren't able to draft them nearly as much as we can now. But the new price point on Kyle Pitts is very appealing. John says, would you trade Jones and Herbert for Geno and Javonte? Oh, yeah. If you can go from Khalil Herbert to Javonte Williams, I probably do. But Gizan says, would you do these trades? If so, which is the best? JT and Jalen Hurts for Saquon? Probably not. Goddard Gibbs. Oh, no. And Goddard/Gibbs. Okay, that's a little bit different. Never mind. We'll reevaluate in a second. JT, Pat Frymuth, Brian Robinson. I'm a little confused. Okay, so let me... JT and Hurts or Mixon and Aaron Rodgers. Easily JT and Hurts. I don't want any of these deals where we're trading away Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to be the number 1 overall scoring fantasy option this year. JT, Pat Frymuth, Brian Robinson for Jahmyr Gibbs, Dallas Goedert. You can make that deal if you really want. You'd rather have Gibbs over JT at this point. Goddard versus Frymuth, Brian Robinson is comparable. So if you really wanted to make one of these deals, it would be the Dallas Goedert, Jahmyr Gibbs one. But please don't be trading away Jalen Hurts for like Aaron Rodgers and a slight running back upgrade. Now, Quojo coming out says, in a 12-team BBR league, 11th pick, Lamb, Diggs, Amari, Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, Dalvin Cook, Rashad White, Zay Flowers, Alec Pierce, Marvin Mims, Elijah Mitchell, Luke Musgrave, Daniel Jones, quarterback hurting. Yeah, I would say you actually can roster 2 quarterbacks here and play the matchups, my friend. So what I would do is I'd most likely drop Luke Musgrave when we have Mark Andrews in there as our starting tight end. We don't need to roster a backup. Pick up another quarterback and play the matchups with Daniel Jones. But Simon asked what we think of the team. Double flex, 3 wide receiver league. We went Allen, Jefferson, Wilson, Ayuk, Bijan, Dobbins, Khalil Herbert, Goddard, Sky, Burks, Mims, Mostert. It looks a little bit better now that you don't have to worry about JT in Miami. I really like the team. I love that we started out with those super strong wide receivers. I have no idea how the hell we got Jefferson, Allen, Wilson, Bijan all on the same roster. I think it really just matters if we can go through and find the depth plays for a league where we can start up to 5 wide receivers. But we're going to be getting those guys off the waiver wire through the course of the season. Okay, McKinnon goes 127. So we are done drafting quarterbacks at this point ourselves. When we take Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott, a big reason we do that is so we only have to draft 2 guys because we're going to want to take 3 tight ends with this build. So not looking at QB, just running back, wide receiver, tight end. Elijah Mitchell off the board, 128. You know what may make a lot of sense in these underdog tournaments, or even if you're drafting your regular team over the next few days, going through and pairing up Jonathan Taylor with Jamal Williams, just in case if you can end up getting Jonathan Taylor to cover those first few weeks for you. Sorry, Jamal Williams to cover the first few Jonathan Taylor weeks for you. Now, sadly, we don't get Jamal Williams falling to us here. I mean, it is what it is, right? Darnell Mooney off the board. So we will go ahead and we'll take 2 wide receivers. I mean, following a considerable amount. Here at this point, we are getting Juju Smith-Schuster 17 picks past ADP. Not a super big Nico Collins guy, but I mean, if we're going to get him 12 picks past ADP as well, and just very few teams are going to be able to match us up with the overall value that we grabbed with these 2 players. I think that's going to be fine. Now, yeah, we're going to be passing on the tight ends of this range. We'll have to take 3 of these guys later on, but overall, I kind of like the value. So now we are currently sitting with, at quarterback, Dak Prescott double stacked with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. Daniel Jones stacked up with Barkley. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner. And wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Nico Collins. But let's move this over. And Luca coming out says 12-team app PPR, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Diggs, Lamb, Josh Allen, oh, beautiful in a half PPR where you can start 4 wide receivers. Najee, Walker, Waller, Sanders, Quentin Johnson, Charbonnet. I really like this team. The only thing I'd say is if we could potentially go through and look to sell Darren Waller for either TJ Hawkinson or George Kittle, tight ends coming off top 5 finishes while still in their prime. Personally, I'm going to be interested in that. I think you can sell, Darren Waller for Hawkinson straight up in a lot of leagues, just given how many people are pumped about Darren Waller with him looking so good in the preseason, plus how good his situation is this year. Now, Devonta says, 2nd pick in a 10-team league. How are we looking and where can we improve? We have Allen, Dobbins, Kamara, Williams, A.J. Brown, Keenan, Travis Lockett, and then on the bench, Swift, Hollywood, Antonio Gibson, Adam Thielen, and Deion Jackson. Really like if we can somehow improve running back, but given the fact that it's only a 10-team league with 1 flex, and we're sitting with Kelsey as well as Josh Allen, this gives us so much flexibility where we are just going to consistently churn the bottom end of our roster to try to find those high upside running backs, wide receivers. I love that we're not rostering a backup quarterback. Love that we're not rostering a backup tight end. I think right now you look a little bit weak there at RB, but given the bookends that we have of the elite level options on this team, I think we're going to be able to solve it through the waiver wire this year. Marcelo says 12-team PPR, got the number 1 overall pick. Should I trade back? No, I like number 1 overall. Kane says drafted from the 102 in a 1 flex league. I like my mock drafts when I take CMC over Chase. Am I crazy to take CMC? In a 10-team league with only 1 flex spot? No, you're not crazy. You can take CMC if you really want. Saul says, do I trade CeeDee Lamb for A.J. Brown? I have Jefferson and Jalen Hurts. Yeah, so if you have Jalen Hurts, I'm fine with you going out there and getting that stack and trading CeeDee Lamb for A.J. Brown. I have them in the same tier. Now, I do have CeeDee Lamb ranked 1 spot ahead of Brown, but if we're going to get the stack, I think we can make a tie. We can use it as a tiebreak, right? We're not completely changing our rankings, but it is just used as that tiebreaker. Now, Daniel says, what's my move with Jonathan Taylor? It's question in the live stream, my man. We have Hurts, Jacobs, JT, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Dalvin Cook, Jamal. We have Jamal. We're good. Gainwell, Hopkins, Mostert, Cook, and Kirks. Here's the move. We start Jamal for the first 3 weeks with the suspension to Alvin Kamara, and with Kondre Miller most likely not coming on strong given the fact the man's a rookie. And we send up a prayer that by the time we get to week 5, you are going to have Jonathan Taylor back and producing. That's the move with Jonathan Taylor currently, my friend. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's move this back. So, like I said, we are not looking at quarterback here. Jordan Love not in play. We are running back, wide receiver, and tight ends. Jacoby Myers goes 152. Myers definitely would have been our pick if you would have made it to us at 156. Gallup goes. We would have taken Gallup pair. Just go full-blown Dallas Cowboys passing offense. Could go Hyatt to pair up with Daniel Jones, but I actually like a sneaky round 18 guy for New York right now. Mingo off the board, 154. Thielen goes. Definitely going to take the tight end. We're going to go Osborne. Actually, some of these drafts, Hyatt wasn't drafted. I'd rather have Wandale. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Wandale. Actually, do we want Jeff Wilson? No, let's go KJ Osborne. Come on, Mason. Just take Osborne. Okay. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen. I've done this mistake before. Oh, my gosh. Hiding the quarterback position because we said we weren't going to draft one. Looking like, in my mind, we were going to just auto draft KJ Osborne, which is who we wanted. And the hidden guy ends up getting drafted. We have Christian Watson. We did wait a decent amount on quarterback with Dak Prescott round 9, Daniel Jones round 10. So it's not the end of the world, right? It's just not ideal. Like, by no means does this ruin the team. I still think we're fine with it. But if we were going to take a third quarterback with this kind of build, I definitely would rather do it like round 17, 18 than where we do here. But Prospect says, I have Bijan. I was offered A.J. Brown, Cam Akers. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Is that a yes? Oh, hell no. Please keep Bijan Robinson, my friend. I would like to trade for A.J. Brown if we have Jalen Hurts, but we're not paying that price. We're not giving up Bijan Robinson, my friend. Okay. But let's move this over. Next question coming out from, I believe, Austin says, thoughts on my draft, pick 10, we're bench warmer. Okay, let's go ahead and let's check this out. We have A.J. Brown, wide receiver, out the gate. Then followed up with Chubb, Etienne. I'm pissed that you took Etienne from us. Najee, Judy. I don't like Judy. I guess it's going to be a unique pick. Never mind. Lawrence, 63 to pair up with Etienne. Addison, 82, great value. Evan Ingram to get the double stack with Lawrence. Dobbs, 106. I probably would rather pull the trigger on Dylan. Mims, 111. It's just such a dead zone for wide receivers here. Like, I think Darnell Mooney's a lot closer to like Romeo Dobbs than A.J. Dillon is with Roshan Johnson. Like, I'd probably rather go like Dylan and Darnell Mooney. Laporta, 135. Mingo, KJ Osborne. Love the KJ Osborne. I like the team overall. Really, the only thing I'd do differently is probably pivot off of like or around 9 and around 10 selections there and try to see if we can get different positions other than wide receiver. Just because wide receiver is such a growth spot there in that range. Okay. But Cody says, would you rather have Dobbs Nico over Mingo Boyd or Hunt over Singletary or Kenneth Gainwell? Also, should I try to get Mack or Tannehill in my super flex over CJ? Note to the last question. If it's a yes to the first one, it's Nico Collins over Jonathan Mingo, but it's up to you. And I would rather have Singletary and Kenny Golladay. So honestly, no, I think that you go through and you sit with the same team that you have, my friend. Now, Shirley says 10-team PPR at the 101 tomorrow with one flex. Thinking of Hurts, Andrews at the 2-3 turn. ADP looks like I could go Amari Walker at the 4-5 turn on Sleeper, by the way. Yeah, so in general, you are going to be wanting to definitely grab an elite level quarterback there. 10-team league with only one flex spot, 2 wide receivers at the 2-3 turn. If you have a running back that you really like falling to you at the end of the second, like Jacobs, I think you pivot in that direction. But if you have no running back that you like, then you can go Andrews. Tilted Abbo says, how PBR at Pollard and Lamb do I trade one? No, I think you're fine. Marcel says 12-team standard, 6-point passing touchdown. Got third overall. Any suggestions? I'd be looking at a quarterback at the 2-3 turn. If it's going to be a standard, like standard is in non-PPR, you probably go RB. I think CMC is definitely in play there at 3. It's either CMC or Chase. Okay. Curtis Samuel off the board, 173. Swing this back up and see what we're about to do. And of course, we're going to be hopping into another draft after this one, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to make our 2 picks here and then hop into our next draft. So Jaden Reed definitely in play for us if he falls, considering the fact that we accidentally took Jordan Love. Rondale Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, both off the board. Now, Armac coming out says, what's up, Mason? Armac, long time member of the flock and The funniest thing ever. Now that I can see your profile pic a little bit closer up, since we can pull these messages on the screen, I can see that it's a bulldog. I used to think your profile pic was Winnie the Pooh, my friend. Like from far away, squinting, it was hard to see. I used to think it was Winnie the Pooh. But anyway, what's up, Mason? Thoughts on the draft? I picked 7 and got Eckler. Oh, we got Chubb round 2. That's beautiful. Okay, I'll look at that in just 1 second. For damn sure we cannot be going quarterback now, right? And now we are not going to be able to take Jaden Reed. Benchwarmer takes him 178. My man, your team's garbage. I hate it. Taysom Hill off the board. We're going to go DJ Chark. Looks like he'll be good to go week 1. And I'm also probably going to go Deonta Foreman as our 5th running back here. And we're going to look to go tight end round 17 and 18. But let me show off this team. We're going to go ahead and hop into another draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get a ton of drafts going tonight. So please, if you have not done so already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop that like. But let's move this down. And yeah, I like the team overall. Not super pumped about the Jordan Love selection. Didn't mean to take him, but it is what it is. And let's go ahead and let's get into another Best Ball Mania draft. Largest tournament on the planet. $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. Let's get in this bad boy and let's see where we're picking, ladies and gentlemen. But our mag is Eckler, Chubb, Kamara, Hopkins, Smith, McLaurin, Judy, wide receiver. Interesting to have McLaurin, Judy on the same team just because these are guys that obviously may struggle at the beginning of the year, may miss. Andrews, then Tua, Watson, and some bench players who aren't great. I think it is a phenomenal team in the long term. In the short term, we may struggle. In the short term, we're not going to have Kamara. We're not going to have Judy. And we may not have McLaurin. So I really hope that we can get through the first month of the season 2-2. Because if we can get through the first month of the season just 2-2, I mean, we're going to be in a beautiful spot. But Amin was in the last draft with us. Let me go ahead and pull that up, my friend. Pick 5. We're going to do that on my phone. And as I do this, we are 2 likes away from hitting 600 likes on the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, whether that's today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, we're doing it every single day. This is Underdog Fantasy. Best ball, no time commitment at all during the year. It's how I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 on Underdog last season. And when you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. Plus, only with promo code FLOCK are you going to be able to take advantage of the exclusive Josh Allen pick'em week 1, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets. Plus, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are really going to like this. DJ Moore season-long pick'em, more than less than 4.5 receiving touchdowns and 800 receiving yards. Now, we got a lot of DJ Moore fans out here that would be interested in looking at that. But going back to your team, my friend, quarterback Hurts, Stafford, love to see it. A running back, don't love Aaron Jones round 4. I like the team. It just looks like we reached on everybody based off ADP, right? So, I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be the most unique team overall. You started off the gate extremely strong, though. Going Jalen Hurts round 2, Devonta Smith round 3. Okay. Now, Raymond coming out says, just got offered JT and Dallas Goedert for Joe Mixon. It's a 12-team PPR home league where we have Herbert, Mixon, Javonte, Chase, Olave, Evan Ingram, Dobbins, Kirk, Myers, Elijah Mitchell, Gerald Everett. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to have to get everybody's opinion on this. Can everybody in the chat please let me know, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor and Dallas Goedert or Joe Mixon? I think we can all agree you'd rather have Mixon straight up. Here, the team that you are rocking with currently has Evan Ingram at tight end. So where are you going, ladies and gentlemen? Let me see what people in the chat are saying. It looks like the chat's a little bit split. I think with this team, the deal could potentially make sense, specifically because we're elite at wide receiver, and I don't think the wide receiver depth matters too much. We just have such a good team that maybe the second half upside is the only thing we should really be paying attention to. I don't know. That is such a tough spot, my friend. I think you probably ask him for, I don't know, throw in Evan Ingram in that instance and see if we can get back another super strong wide receiver or running back. If we can like throw in Evan Ingram and at the same time have him throw in like Amari Cooper, then sure. But as it stands, probably not. Probably keeping Mixon. Now, Trailer Park Boy says 10-team BBR planning on going wide receiver, running back. What are your thoughts? My man, thank you so much for coming back. Long time member of the flock here. I'll say generally if it's a 10-team league with only one flex, I don't like it. If it's a league where you start 5 wide receivers or more, then sure, let's go ahead and do it. But Kobe says, would you trade Taylor for Breece Hall? If not, would you trade Taylor and Higbee for Hall and Goddard? Second deal seems a lot more appealing. I think, honestly, I'd probably do the second one. I think most people probably want it. But if we could go Taylor Higbee for Hall and Goddard, I think it makes sense. Okay, yeah, so in this draft, we start off Kelsey and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Super excited about this start. I mean, overall, if we're going to be looking at where these ADPs line up, Kelsey primarily going in the middle of round 1, Amon-Ra St. Brown going at the end of round 1, the beginning of round 2, there'll be very few teams that have this same combo. Now, Roman says, hey, JT for Kenneth Walker, Tank Bigsby. 12-team league, I have CMC and JT, but that's about it. Or should I hold out with something better or stay with Jonathan Taylor? So it's pretty much just coming down to would you rather have JT or Kenneth Walker? Oh my gosh. If you're telling me we have nobody we can start at running back week 1, then sure, we probably need to do it. If we can go pick up someone on the super cheap and feel comfortable with our week 1, week 2, week 3 starting lineup, then maybe not. But I don't know. Now, King Matt says in an 8-man standard non-PPR league, would you trade Dobbins and Andrews for JT and Waller? No, I wouldn't. Not in an 8-team league. In an 8-team league, having that elite tight end is going to make such a big difference. I think there's a fundamental difference between Andrews and Waller. E. Morales says, have 8 wide receivers, drop Rice or Collins for Spears, Gus, or other. I'd probably go ahead and drop Rashee Rice for Tajee Spears if it's a league where we have 8 wide receivers and we could possibly only start 3. Now, Lasagna Lover says, make a sparkling water fantasy league where weekly sales equals points. So you draft like LaCroix, San Pellegrino. I have no idea how we do that, my man. We draft we can make a sparkling water fantasy football league and see every time a player drinks sparkling water, you get a point if they're on your roster. Maybe we can make that work. But hopefully we see Andrews off the board. Last thing we want is Andrews to be the guy that makes it to us when we have Kelsey. Keenan goes 31. Christian Watson off the board, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pass on Andrews. I'm sorry. We're going to give someone else Andrews. I know some people are interested in the bully tight end strategy by pairing up Kelsey and Andrews on the same roster. Personally, I'm not about it. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to get the quarterback that has a higher ceiling than anybody else in fantasy football. He's the best fantasy football season of any quarterback ever under his belt back in 2019. And it's a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize. It's someone that I want to be betting on, so we will take Lamar Jackson here at 33. Andrews does go immediately after. Mixon off 35. But Michael says, hey, Mason, 12-team at PBR double flex keeper league. We have Fields, AJ, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, so elite at wide receiver. We have Andrews at tight end. We have Eckler running back with Rashad White. And then on the bench, we have Gibson, Jeff Wilson, Burks, Bateman, Darnell Mooney. Any advice? Should I upgrade quarterback or look for running back depth? Running back depth is going to be the name of the game here. You're elite at wide receiver. I don't even understand why we're rostering guys like Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney. I mean, I think that you're great with Justin Fields here at QB, but if we have like Mooney as our wide receiver 7 and Rashad White as our running back 2, I would definitely prefer to pivot over and see if instead we could go through and get a different running back down there at the bottom end of this bench. I mean, we are currently rostering AJ, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson. I mean, Treylon Burks, Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney. Yeah, drop Mooney as your wide receiver 7. Just see if we can go find a running back depth piece, my friend. But we're going to go ahead. We will take Najee Harris at pick 40. Now, y'all know, haven't drafted Najee Harris a ton over the past month because we had Travis Etienne ranked ahead of Najee Harris, and Travis Etienne used to go after Najee Harris, so it's easy for us to go ahead and just take Etienne instead. But now, I mean, hell, you can't really get Etienne at the same price. Etienne's going here at pick 28. So we will go ahead and we'll grab Najee Harris as our first running back off the board at pick 40. Now, Jose says 12-team PPR. My team is Watson, Hill, Higgins, Barkley, Pierce, DJ Moore, Evan Ingram. And my bench is Mike Williams, Alvin Kamara, Zay Flowers, and Ezekiel Elliott. How do we do? Love the team. Love the bench. I think that we're... Yeah, I don't know if we even have to make any moves. Well-rounded roster. I really like it, my friend. Now, Sir Bob says, hey, Mason, is this the worst draft you've ever seen? Herbert, Javonte, Penny, Brian Robinson, Ridley, Metcalf, London, Godwin, Kelsey. It's pretty bad. We're just going to have to find a solution at running back. We're strong. We're elite at quarterback, elite at tight end, elite at wide receiver. I think it looks very bad for week 1. The big question is how good are we going to be at working the waiver wire for running back options through the course of the rest of the season, right? That's the main question. Now, Steven says 12-team full BBR where we only have one flex. Mahomes, Barkley, Montgomery, Lamb, DJ Moore, Kmet, Mike Williams. What are your thoughts? We have Ferguson on the bench. Okay, good. I actually like rostering 2 tight ends if our first tight end is going to be Cole Kmet. We have the elite quarterback. We have some solid running back production. We have a well-balanced between running back versus wide receiver. I think it's a great team, yeah, and I like that we're rostering 2 tight ends here with Kmet being our first guy. Now, Jonathan Taylor is still available. Ladies and gentlemen, back-to-back drafts now where Jonathan Taylor has made it down to round 5. You see, we pass on Jonathan Taylor in favor of Najee Harris in this draft. And for the person who was asking Jonathan Taylor versus Kenneth Walker earlier on, here you clearly see Kenneth Walker go ahead of JT. Cade says 10-team BBR, Tua, Henry, Etienne, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Dallas Goedert, Gibbs, Godwin, Pittman, Pirine, Gibson, Burks, and Njoku. What are your thoughts? Love that we just make that one consolidated bet, right? The only thing that this team really comes down to, the Miami Dolphins. If the Miami Dolphins have a top 5 passing offense in the NFL this next season, with the combination of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua, I mean, we will be printing money. Of course, if they're bad, we're probably going to lose. But, I mean, hell, if it's a 10-team league, you only have a 10% chance of winning anyway. Is there a 20% chance the Miami Dolphins are a top 5 passing offense this year? Now, not Giovanni coming out says 12-team PPR 1 flex 5th pick. Fields, Jacobs, Sanders, Madison, Charbonnet, Higgins, London, JSN, Hollywood, Addison, Kelsey. Any thoughts? Love the Kelsey Fields bookend. Love that we're rostering running backs, wide receivers throughout the rest of this team. Great team. Great team. If we can trade Drake London for DJ Moore to get the Justin Fields stack, I think that makes sense, but it's not something you have to do. Now, moving this over, ladies and gentlemen, George Pickens off the board. So we are now in a spot where there is nobody exciting. Burrow, we don't have any Cincinnati Bengals stacks. We already took Lamar. Hawkinson, we have Kelsey on this team. Judy's dealing with the hamstring strain. It comes back again. Do I want Jonathan Taylor or do I want Alexander Madison? And I know everybody with the brain in the live chat is screaming at me no. And I'll probably be waking up in the middle of the night screaming no with flashbacks back to this moment. But do I want to go with an unstacked Joe Burrow as our quarterback 2 here at 57? Do I want to go with TJ Hawkinson to pair up with Travis Kelsey here at 57? Do I want to go with Jerry Jeudy dealing with the hamstring injury at 57? Do I want to go with Alexander Madison or Jonathan Taylor in a league that's a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize? So everybody in the live chat spamming no. Who would you rather have seen? Would you rather me taking Alexander Madison? Would y'all, and this is a serious question. I'm just trying to ask y'all flat out because I'm trying to find a better solution here because I agree with you. I don't want to take Jonathan Taylor at 57. So what's the alternative? Would you rather have Alexander Madison in a league that's a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize? Is that where we are at? And it looks like everybody in the chat says, yeah, they would rather have Alexander Madison. But Tomino says, wanted to say you were not wrong with JT and should be proud because you have taught so many of us the importance of chasing the ceiling. Can't let the bad pick put you down. Sure, there will be trolls, but the majority of us are thankful. No, thank you so much, my man, for being a member of the flock. And hopefully we are not completely dead in the water with our Jonathan Taylor selections. I think we are going to go ahead, take Dobbins here in the middle of round 6. Pair up Dobbins with Lamar, make the consolidated bet on the Baltimore Ravens offense. And now, tight end, we have Travis Kelce. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson. And running back, we are sitting with Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor, and J.K. Dobbins. And we are 2 likes away from hitting 700 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream. That way we get pumped out and as many people as possible can come out here and laugh at us for taking Jonathan Taylor at pick 57 where we did. Okay. But let me go ahead and pull up the donations on a separate page. I think we are not going to be able to pull up a few of these donations on the main screen for y'all to see, but not going to miss not going to miss any of them. Should be able to read at least all of them over here on this separate page. And Zach says, Breece Hall and Brian Robinson for Jahmyr Gibbs and Sky Moore. Rather have Gibbs over Hall, Brian Robinson, Sky Moore. Give me Brian Robinson, but it's whatever. It's a league where you can start 4 wide receivers. We have Burrow, Watson, McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Jefferson, Ridley, Hollywood, Goddard, Cam Akers. And then on the bench, Swift and Quinn Johnson. I'd probably go Jahmyr Gibbs here. Full BBR format, we go Gibbs with the receiving upside. Now, CB3 says, what should I look for in a wide receiver when trading JT, Keenan Allen? If you're trading away Jonathan Taylor, Keenan Allen, I think you're going to be looking at any wide receiver that went before 16 in this draft. I think that you want Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you want CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Avonte Adams, A.J. Brown, Diggs, or obviously one of the elite level guys. David says, JT at number 2 RB with 23%, but RB 17 in dollars. Oh, you're lucky, my man. You're lucky. I have 15% Jonathan Taylor, but he is my 5th most invested into running back when it comes to the dollars spent in drafts. Now, and after taking him in back-to-back drafts here, that may go up to 16% Jonathan Taylor. I may be at 16% Jonathan Taylor at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That is double the average rate of the average drafter. Okay. Now let's move this over. Zach coming out says, JSN back at practice, my friend. Hell yes. Super pumped that we have JSN back. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Hollywood. I mean, this is a tanking team in Arizona. This is a tanking team in this underdog draft where we took Jonathan Taylor, but it is what it is. We need a wide receiver. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown at 16. So let's go ahead. Let's pull the trigger. Let's grab another wide receiver that clearly has no target competition this next year, right? But Angel coming out says 10-team BBR where we have Lamar, Bijan, Jacobs, Andrews. Wide receiver, we have Hopkins, McLaurin. On the bench, we have Dotson, Flowers, Evans, Elijah Moore, Kamara, Brian Robinson. How did I do? Any changes? Love the team overall that we have the elite running backs and the Lamar Andrews stack. I think that we're primarily just chasing wide receiver upside. Maybe a little bit difficult at the beginning of the season when we're having to deal with the injury to both Terry McLaurin, as well as the suspension to Alvin Kamara. But in the long term, I think you'll be in a great spot, my friend. Now, clearly we cannot take Alvin Kamara on the same team in which we take Jonathan Taylor, right? Like, this is a team that's already optimized for the end of the season. We kind of need to go through and see if we can get some actual production in for this year at the beginning, not just the fantasy football playoffs. Okay, Samwise coming out. Has 2 tight ends in both Andrews and Kittle. I like Samwise's team here. What do they decide to do? They go Kamara. Don't love wide receiver. I think we go Pacheco, right? I mean, Pacheco's been a quiet winner this offseason, where the Chiefs really only re-signed Jarrett McKinnon. Outside of that, they've had the opportunity to go sign Dalvin. They had the opportunity to sign Zeke. Obviously, the money would have made it very difficult, but they're NFL. It's an NFL team. They could have figured it out. They've still had the opportunity to sign Fournette, Kareem Hunt. It's about to be September. They have not done so. I didn't draft anybody of significance. So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's take Isaiah Pacheco here. We're going to try to cover that production at the beginning of the season. Okay. But our next question coming out from Green Blocker says, just drafted a team yesterday in a 10-team Happy BR Money League with a lot of weird drafters and noobs. Quarterback, we have Lamar and Fields. Okay, hopefully we can sell one of these guys in the long term. Wide receiver, we have Hill, Diggs, Waddle, London. Running back, we have Gibbs, Pierce, Hall, Madison. Tight end, we have Kmet, Laporta. Great team. The only thing I'd say is let's go through and let's try to sell Justin Fields and Cole Kmet in a package, see if we can get a great tight end, right? It's really like the only move you could make, but a great team overall. And Tyler says 12-team PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, no flex. We have Fields, Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Javonte, Akers, Andrews, Flowers, Charbonnet, Brian Robinson, Johnson, Devon Chain, Romeo Dobbs. 0 RB has me nervous, and Lamar got sniped. Hell, if we ended up with Fields, I mean, we're kind of fine. And here, if it's a full PPR format, 12-team league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers, this is kind of where you're okay to go with a 0 RB approach, right? Just because you are going to be crushing your league mates with Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave early on. If we find some running backs off the waiver wire during the season, you're going to be in a great spot, my friend. Okay, now let's move this over, and Dylan coming out with our next donation says Fields, Chubb, Connor, Javonte, Dobbins, Lamb, Keenan, Hollywood, Addison, Juwan Johnson. What are your thoughts, double flex? Really hope that we have another tight end if Juwan Johnson's going to be our number 1 guy. Definitely want to be rostering 2 of these options. I'd love it if we could trade Hollywood and a lesser option to go get DJ Moore to pair him up with Justin Fields. But overall, I really like the team. I mean, I just really like CeeDee Lamb, if I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. Now, at this point, we really want wide receivers to make it back. I mean, you had Elijah Moore almost making it back to us, which would have been very exciting considering the fact this team only has 2 wide receivers. We're desperate for some wide receiver help. I mean, our 2 wide receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hollywood Brown. So it's not we're completely behind the 8 ball. I mean, we're pretty bad, but it is what it is. So we are more times than not going to take a wide receiver here, 105. We have the ability to go ahead and pair up Lamar Jackson with Rashad Bateman, which is the no-brainer call, right? I mean, we already make a bet on this Baltimore Ravens offense by taking Lamar and Dobbins. Might as well double down on said bet by taking Rashad Bateman here. And we need a wide receiver. He's the guy falling past ADP. Position of need. Correlates with our team. ADP value. Sometimes it's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. And Chris coming out with a big-time donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Says 12-team PPR, quarter point per carry. It's going to be a double flex league. Here, my friend, I hope we slammed running backs. We want to be starting a running back in the flex spot each and every week in a quarter point per carry format. Where we currently are sitting with Lawrence at QB. I would love if we could trade Lawrence in a small piece to get to Justin Fields. One thing that a lot of people don't think about in a point per carry format is just the fact that at the end of the day, real quick, we're going to take Tony. We're going to make that consolidated bet on the Chiefs offense as well with Kelsey, Tony, and Isaiah Pacheco. But going back to what we're talking about here, I mean, you're also going to be getting the bump in quarterback scoring for the quarterbacks that have the elite rushing ceiling in that point per carry format. So, yeah, I would really like to go ahead and see if we can trade Lawrence in a small piece for like Justin Fields. We have Bijan, Madison, Roshan, Penny, Hunt. Lamb, Olave, Amari, Judy, JSN, Quentin Johnson, Burks, Pitts at tight end. Am I in trouble at running back? Honestly, I would love this team if it was just a regular PPR format. Regular PPR format, the players you have, the values you got, especially at those middle round wide receivers, love the squad. The issue is, I think if we're optimizing for this kind of league, we want to have a rushing quarterback and we want to be overloaded with running backs and not wide receivers. So yeah, actually, my friend, I don't necessarily know if we love the team just for that reason. But I mean, you have so much trade value, you're definitely going to be able to make plays. But ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We're closing in on 800 likes on the stream. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft with us, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, we're drafting every single night on Underdog Fantasy. You can find the link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK on Underdog is going to get you a dollar for dollar match up to 100, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. It's best balls to no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And also, only with promo code FLOCK are you going to be able to take advantage of the exclusive Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard, week 1 against the Jets. So please make sure you're taking advantage, ladies and gentlemen. But Nick says, Mason, I got JT. Will I be okay with this team? We have Hurts, Geno, Gibbs, Brees, Dalvin, Garrett Wilson, Addison, Odell, Elijah Moore, Thielen, and Kincaid. Hopefully. I would say you definitely need to be dropping out on Thielen to go try to get another running back off the waiver wire, right? That's what I'm going to be looking at, my man. Go get someone that may be appealing elsewhere. At running back, that is. Now, Go Bill says, rate the team. It's a PPR league where we have Lamar, Barkley, Jacobs, Connor, Javonte, Hopkins, Kupp, Allen, Darren Waller, Pickens, Hollywood, Gabe Davis, and Cortland Sutton. So I like Sutton this year, actually, with all the injuries in Denver. I really like the squad. I would love to get Andrews to pair up with Lamar somehow. I think we have enough flexibility with the running back room where Javonte Williams is our RB4 here. If we could go like Javonte and Darren Waller to get to Mark Andrews to pair him up with Lamar Jackson, that would be beautiful. Alex says, PBR, pick 6, 10-team league. What strategy would we go for? I'm going to go with an elite tight end round 1 in Kelsey, and then see if we can get an elite quarterback round 3, my man, assuming it's a 1 flex league. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers off the board 126. Let's swing this back around. You have Russell Wilson going 127. Kenneth Gainwell goes. I have drafted so few Samaje Perine shares this year, it's not even funny. The man used to go, before pick 100, he used to go next to Alvin Kamara, and it was laughable. But if there's ever an instance where it makes sense to draft Samaje Perine, he's going to have a larger role at the beginning of the season than he is going to be at the end of the year. We're looking for him to cover the beginning of the season where we won't have Jonathan Taylor. So let's go ahead and let's draft Samaje Perine here, 129. And yeah, let's see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Jacoby Myers, 132. Raheem Mostert, 133. Darnell Mooney goes. So if Goff is in play, right? We took Amon-Ra St. Brown. His bye week doesn't line up with Lamar. So yeah, I think we go ahead and I think we take Jared Goff. And we are 1 like away from hitting 800 likes in the stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Rashee Rice goes. So we're going to get Jared Goff to pair up with Lamar Jackson, pair him up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know everybody's going to hate this team because we took Jonathan Taylor at pick 57. And I understand it's an extremely risky pick, and I understand that it could very easily be a horrendous selection. But honestly, I kind of like this squad. It's a super weird team. But tight end, we have Kelsey holding down the fort. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney. Running back, we have Najee, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Isaiah Pacheco, Samaje Perine. Quarterback, we have Lamar double stacked with J.K. Dobbins as well as Rashad Bateman. And we have Jared Goff stacked up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like this team. Weird ass team where we are looking for wide receiver values later on, but we made the consolidated bets on the Ravens as well as the Kansas City Chiefs here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Andrew says 12-team PPR. I have Watson, CMC, Pollard, Javonte, Hall, Pierce, Hunt, Ridley, Godwin, Johnston, Dotson, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, Kelsey, Cost, Pollard at minimum. If it's a league with only one flex, hell yeah, I'd trade Tony Pollard for. I'd try to trade Tony Pollard, David Njoku for Travis Kelce and a running back in return. Even if obviously it's a lesser running back, but I think that would make a lot of sense, my friend. And Royer says, who do you start week 1? Khalil Herbert, Dalvin Cook, Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to go Dalvin Cook. Michael says 12-team at PBR double flex, 4-point passing touchdown. Fields, Barkley, Brees, Adams, Judy, Kincaid, Stevenson, Herbert, Pittman, Rice, Miller, Gabe Davis. What are you thinking? 4-point passing touchdown. Love Justin Fields. Like the running back upside, like the wide receiver upside. Just generally, I definitely want to be rostering 2 tight ends here. Dalton Kincaid's our tight end 1. I don't know if he's going to be good to go at the beginning of the season. Zeke off the board, 146. We're wanting to see as many quarterbacks and running backs off as possible. I mean, at this point, we are done drafting quarterback and running back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Smooth this over. Adam Thielen off the board, 149. We are exclusively wide receiver, tight end from here on out. Okay. We'll go ahead and we will take Michael Gallup as our wide receiver 5. Hopefully we just get a random spike week from him. Now, Nico says 12-team PBR, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and 1 flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Javonte, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts, Brian Robinson, JSN, and some nobodies on the bench. So we have the elite level quarterback. We have some solid running backs. We have the balance between RB, wide receiver, and we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a phenomenal team in a 12-team league. That is awesome, my friend. And Maserati says, is this the last tournament or will Underdog add puppies? I'm going to assume that Underdog is going to go through and add some puppy tournaments, but I can't be certain. I mean, they definitely did in the last week leading up to the season last year. And Tyler says 12-team PBR, 1 flex, 8 pick, Bijan, Brown, Gibbs, Andrews, Fields, Watson, Deontay, London, Brian Robinson, Herbert, Burks, Elijah Moore, Algier. How did we do? How the hell do we get Andrews round 4 in a 1 flex league? Andrews round 4, Fields round 5 in a 1 flex league. And also this wide receiver value is why you go running back, quarterback, tight end early in a 1 flex league. You get Watson, Deontay, London around 6, 7, and 8. Beautiful freaking team. Now we're going to go ahead. We are just going to continue to take wide receivers. I mean, we need to be filling out the bottom end of this roster with wide receivers that could potentially spike into our starting lineup, right? And I think we have that possibility here with these group of guys. We only have 2 wide receivers through the first 7 rounds, that being Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hollywood Brown. So, I mean, we definitely need to be slamming wide receivers here where we can. So, Gallup, 153, Jonathan Mingo, 160. I really do like this price point. Okay. But moving this down. Now, Alec Pierce goes 163. Interesting to see a couple of these other wide receivers still falling, right? I mean, especially those tight ends, but those tight ends have been falling for quite some time. Okay. But Benjamin coming out with our next donation. 10-team PPR, 2 points per reception for tight end. Okay, we 100% need to be pushing tight ends up here, my man. Start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, and 1 super flex. Okay, we're going to be pushing up quarterback a ton here as well. If you're looking at the percentage of the starting lineup output that the quarterback's going to account for, if you start as many quarterbacks as wide receivers, a quarterback, oh my gosh, is going to be so damn important. Like, this is a way bigger deal to push quarterbacks up than it would be like a regular dynasty super flex league where you start 3 wide receivers and a couple extra flex spots. But Jefferson's going to go first. With the second pick, do I go Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, or Travis Kelce because the tight end boost to PPR, also 5-point bonus for 400 passing yards in a game. I'd be going quarterback. If it's going to be a league where quarterback is literally 2 out of 7 of your starting lineup spots, They're going to make up 40% of your output on a week-to-week basis. Go through, take Mahomes or Hurts, whoever your QB1 is, and then if we can go like Mark Andrews at the 2-3 turn, we do. I don't know. And I don't mind if we have another elite level quarterback falling to us in the second, I'll double tap the elite level QBs in that format. Now, Singletary off the board. Good for us. We're not looking at wide receivers. We're not looking at running backs. We're not looking at quarterbacks. We'll go ahead and we'll take Irv Smith Jr. here, pair him up with Travis Kelce. We only need one more tight end, right? And then after this, we are going to go ahead. We are going to be taking wide receivers, but let's take another wide receiver here. Then we're going to go ahead and hop into our next draft, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be getting into a ton of drafts tonight. So at the end of this, we've had Lamar Goff at quarterback. Tight end, we've had Kelce, Irv Smith Jr. Running back, we've had Najee, Taylor, Dobbins, Pacheco, Pirine. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Hollywood, Bateman, Tony, Gallup, Mingo. And we're going to draft, actually, I believe, are we going to take 4 more wide receivers here? Maybe we can mix in 1 RB if we really wanted to. But yeah, I'm done with these 2 quarterbacks and these 2 tight ends. We're either going to go with 1 more running back and 2 more wide receivers, or we're going to go 3 more wide receivers here. Let's see, Gus Edwards goes 182. Actually, I'd probably take another running back. We're going to go Hunt, then back-to-back wide receivers. I just can't take Tank Towel. I'm just sorry about it. But yeah, we're going to finish that draft off with 2 wide receivers. But let's go get in our next draft here, ladies and gentlemen. Best Ball Mania, the largest tournament on the planet. $25 buy-in, $15 million prize. Well, $3 million for first place. Let's go ahead and let's get in this bad boy, ladies and gentlemen. And I will commit to not drafting Jonathan Taylor here. We will pass on Jonathan Taylor and see how far he truly falls in these drafts if we don't take him at the 5-6 turn. And Nathaniel says, hey, Mason, 12-team BBR, what are your thoughts? We have Lawrence Purdy, drop Purdy. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Lamb, Dotson, Flowers, Dobbs. Running back, we have Etienne, Ramondre, Khalil Herbert, Zach Charbonnet, Deion Jackson. Tight end, we have Waller, Kincaid. A great team. If we could trade Waller and get back Hawkinson or Kittle in return, I would look to do that. I think you drop Brock Purdy. You don't want to be rostering a backup quarterback and a backup tight end, especially if your backup quarterback tight ends options right now are as good as Trevor Lawrence and Darren Waller. I think you want to be optimizing for some more running back upside down there on the bench. But outside of that, love the squad. Sam says, picking Ramondre in a non-PPR at 32. You don't want Ramondre in a non-PPR format. Ramondre's value is with his receptions, my friend. But we're at 6, so y'all know who is in play for us at 6. And we are drafting next to Samwise. Again, Samwise in this draft with us at 7. And Brian says, tanking, I gave Ayuk, Ramondre, and Dylan for Lance, Quentin Johnston, and a future first. Now I have the 101 and a pick between 5 and 10. Ooh. I don't want to be penciling in what running back we're going to be going with there in that late first. Obviously, picking up the extra first, my man's going to give you a lot of flexibility in what you can do later on in the season. Just obviously in that rebuilding team, I remember you telling us either yesterday or the day before that it was a rebuilding dynasty squad. Yeah, well, of course, we want to go through and we want to set ourselves up to get the 101 and Caleb Williams. And we're going to pick up as many extra first-round picks as we can in the long term. But you don't need to be mapping out your rookie draft right now. I mean, there's going to be so many more data points by the time we get to next year. Now, CMC off the board at 4. Let's move this down. Coco Palmer goes Kelce. So we're actually going to get Kupp. I mean, our plan was going to be to go ahead and grab Bijan Robinson at 6, but I mean, if Kupp's going to be available, we'll just go ahead and we'll just pull the trigger on him. Now, Andrew says, I know it's a hot take, but Swift will finish as a running back 1 this year in fantasy. My man, that is a hot take. Not saying I don't like it, but I don't know if I'm following you. I don't know if I'm following you with the boldness of it. I don't know if I'm going to go through and speak it as if it's a for sure thing. wishing you the best of luck if you've gone that hard on DeAndre Swift. I mean, it is an elite offensive line. It is an elite offense. He can catch the ball. Let's move this down. And Austin says, hate the 4th pick, but I did my best. What are your thoughts? Okay, let's go ahead and let's check that out for Austin in that last draft. Okay, Bijan goes immediately after we take Kupp here. So Geno Pickett, I really hope you're grabbing a 3rd quarterback there in the last round, my man. Evan Ingram. Yeah, honestly, I just think that I probably go with 1 fewer running back or 1 fewer wide receiver here. And I think you could maybe get away with going 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends when you wait this long at both of those positions. It's always a tough spot when you wait that long to grab your first QB or tight end because you're never too pumped of where you end up. Now, the name we can never pronounce out here says, hey, Mason, me from yesterday, Lamar, Barkley, Zeke, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, McLaurin, Judy, Pitts, any thoughts? I want to go get Zeke out of here, but I don't know who to give up. If we can maybe go like Judy and Zeke to get a running back upgrade that way, I'd really like it. The issue is when we have like McLaurin and Judy on the same squad, right? They both kind of accomplish the same thing. They're both players that we get a discount on because there are injuries early on in the season, but maybe we go through and we draft them given the upside that they have later on in the year and how they can fundamentally change our roster. But when we're rostering both of them, it's just going to be difficult to get by at the beginning of the season, my friend. Now, CeeDee Lamb off the board 15. I have no idea why Lamb's been falling this much. We almost got CeeDee Lamb and Travis Kelce on the same team in the last draft. Smooth this over. If y'all don't know, Tony Pollard used to go way later than this in drafts. Jalen Hurts goes 17. Sadly, we're not going to be able to get our guy. Pollard off the board, so we'll go ahead and we will take Jalen Waddle, our most drafted wide receiver in fantasy drafts last season, here at pick 19. And Josh says 10-team PPR, Kelce, Chubb, Allen, Amari, Hall, Pierce, Christian Watson, Pittman, Deshaun Watson, Montgomery, Kirk, JSN Rice, package Amari and Watson for an elite wide receiver. If Josh Allen was the guy that we took there in the 3rd, yeah, I agree. I mean, you got such a good value on Deshaun Watson. You kind of want to go through and draft him with that exact plan. I don't think you have to do it with Amari, but I think Amari would be the most appealing because you could find someone in your league and sell them, say, hey, make that one correlated bet. Make that bet that, I mean, these two guys come out and they crush together and you end up, I mean, with prime Deshaun Watson with this wide receiver 1. But if you have Josh Allen, I think it makes sense to make that sell for an elite level wide receiver. Now, to see Ridley go over Olave hurts my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I drafted Calvin Ridley once over the past month, as he's been going at the 2-3 turn, and I just simply take the elite level quarterbacks instead of him. But yeah, Calvin Ridley to go ahead of Olave. That cannot, I don't know. It feels like that can't work out well, at least in my mind. I'm also the idiot that was going through and drafting Jonathan Taylor at the 2-3 turn, so what the hell do I know? Now, Andrews goes 25, Mahomes off the board 26. Sadly, we're not going to be able to get Mahomes on the way back around. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 900 likes on this stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream for us. Help us hit 900 and we're closing in on 1,000. We have live streamed every single day for 123 days in a row. So, of course, drop that like. And if you want to get into our next draft, whether that is tonight, tomorrow, the next night, the night after, because we are doing another draft after this one, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. If you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And also, only with promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy are you going to be able to take advantage of the exclusive Josh Allen Pick'em week 1 against the Jets on Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you are taking advantage of that. But we're going to go Higgins at 30 and go with the 3 straight wide receivers out the gate. Underdog is a place where you can't afford to go 0 RB just because RBs are going to be a pretty strong value later on in the draft. And Robert says 1 quarterback, full PBR, Herbert, Foreman, Gibson. Oh my gosh, this is brutal. Waddle, Judy, JSN, and Joku. This is a horrible team. 2 future firsts. Does it make any sense to try to trade for Jonathan Taylor? Hell no, my man. I am extremely sorry to say this, and it's going to be an ass thing for me to say. This is a team where you need to burn it down. You need to try to be the worst team in the league this next season. Get the 101 in the 2024 draft. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, that's a weak squad. I'm really, really sorry to say it. But yeah, you don't want to be trading for a veteran running back on a team like that. I think that you're better off burning it for the long term in Dynasty. I don't think you have a real shot to contend this year. Now, Robert says 1 quarterback PBR. We have Justin Herbert, Deonta Foreman, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Waddle, Judy, JSN, David Njoku. The year 2 tight end Tennessee, Josh Downs. Oh, no, I'm so stupid. Jacob says 10-team PBR, Fields, Bijan, Etienne, Adams, DJ Moore, Freiermuth, Mixon, with Judy Ayuk 2 on the bench. Thoughts, drafted at 8. Don't necessarily think we need to if we have Fields. Yeah, I'd rather have another bench running back. I mean, right now, the only running backs we see on the roster are Bijan and Etienne. Guys, great team. I just think that you're going to start Justin Fields every single week regardless, right? I mean, Justin Fields is an elite level option in fantasy at this point. Now, okay, let's move this over. Iggy Biggie says, hey, Mason, 12-team at PBR. We have Lamar, Madison, Gibbs, Akers, Pacheco, Warren, Jeff Wilson. And then we have Cooper Kupp, Diggs, Judy, JSN, Kmet, Dalton Schultz. Actually agree, rostering 2 tight ends. We have the elite quarterback. I mean, if we could go through and get him stacked up with Andrews, make a lot of sense. But, I mean, it doesn't seem obvious how to do that right now. Great team, roster construction top to bottom. Great values in the draft. Beautiful spot, my man. Love that. Having Stephon Diggs out the gates is going to give you such a good floor later on. Okay, so let's move this over. We started 3 wide receivers out the gate. Obviously, we don't need to go wide receiver here if we don't want to. Yeah, Mike Williams off the board, 42. Gotta sit here and think. We're going to go Breece Hall here in the middle round 4. I mean, there aren't going to be too many teams that are able to get this value on Breece Hall in these underdog tournaments in particular. I think that Breece Hall still has an elite level ceiling weeks 15, 16, 17. That's what we're trying to optimize for. I mean, it's a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool tournament. So let's go ahead. Let's get Breece Hall here at 43. I think you could make an argument for Justin Fields, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, Iggy Biggie coming out says, no, we already answered that one. I snap long time remember the Flock says, do I trade JT for Dalvin and Breece or JT and Kittle for Andrews and Akers? I think you trade JT for Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. Like here in this draft, right? We have Breece Hall going at 43. Jonathan Taylor, God knows when he goes. You may end up seeing Jonathan Taylor fall 2 rounds behind Breece Hall in this draft. So if you can trade Taylor for Breece Hall plus Dalvin, you probably just have to. Jacob says, weird league, but 8-team league with 4 flex spots, 2 quarterbacks, 0 tight end slots. Allen Fields, beautiful. Running back, Mixon, Lamb, Keenan, DJ Moore, Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, David McGill. Love it. I mean, we went through and made a podcast breaking down someone's fantasy football team that just joined flockfantasy.com that didn't have to start a tight end, and we did an overall experiment. We looked at the tight end 8 last year and see how he lined up with wide receivers. The tight end 8 was comparable to like the wide receiver 50. So yeah, I mean, if it's a league where you don't have to start a tight end, my friend, I don't waste a raw spot on him. I just go ahead and pass on him completely. Now, Ayuk off the board here at pick 50. Let's swing this back around. Taylor's still available. Let's see if Taylor goes. Herbert goes 51. Waller 52. So we're going to take whoever falls between Justin Fields, Joe Burrow. Fields gives us the elite rushing upside. Joe Burrow stacks with T. Higgins. McLaurin goes, so we will go ahead and we'll take Justin Fields. There'll be fewer teams that give this value on Justin Fields than Joe Burrow. And let me walk y'all through another reason why we took Breece Hall in the last round. So I did not expect to get Justin Fields making it back around to us. Full transparency, I thought Justin Fields would be gone. But we looked at the draft board and we saw, okay, well, the team that took Jamar Chase is also the same team that took Patrick Mahomes. So they're more likely than not going to be passing on Joe Burrow there at 47 and pick 50. And if they're going to be passing on Joe Burrow, we can expect that maybe one of those other teams that doesn't have Chase, if they are going to go quarterback, they're going to go Fields for the rushing upside because they don't have the Burrow correlation. And we'll get Joe Burrow on the way back around at 54 after we take Breece Hall. That was my initial plan, obviously. I mean, it has worked out beautifully, I would say. And we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what happens here. But there's an outside chance Burrow makes it back to us at 67. I don't want to get my hopes up. But Kinson says in the 14-team league where we have Burrow, Bijan, James Cook, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Pitts, this does not look like a 14-team format. That's a great squad. No, I love the roster construction of this team. I love the Higgins-Burrow stack. I like that we're optimizing for upside down there on the bench when we have the starting lineup covered early on. Great team, my man. I don't really see any obvious moves that we can make there. Okay. Now, J.K. Dobbins off the board, 62. And Paulo says, at the 105 and a 10-team PPR, picked in this order, we have Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Mixon, T.J. Hockenson, Breece Hall, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, JSN, Dotson, Brian Robinson, Penny. Okay. What are we wanting to do? It's a great team. I'm just trying to come up with anything. Getting Breece Hall there is just such a cheat code. I feel like you kind of have to sit on your hands until you get JSN and Jerry Jeudy back from their respective injuries. But once that does happen, I'm definitely going to be interested to see if we can go through and trade Jahan Dotson, sell him high in a package to get a running back upgrade elsewhere. Because, I mean, you will be able to start JSN and Jeudy down the stretch. And at the same time, Dotson may start off really strong and be a sell-high candidate with the Terry McLaurin injury. Okay, Benchwormer on the clock. I believe we saw him take Jerry Jeudy in another draft, unless I could be mistaken. He goes Javonte Williams here at 65. Okay, Samwise on the clock. Brian says, are we starting Swift or Pacheco week 1? Probably Pacheco, just so we get the clarity on the Philadelphia situation. What is Samwise doing? Personally, we can say this because there's enough of a lag. I wanted Kittle. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to get George Kittle here. I mean, Jeudy wasn't going to move the needle for us too much. We already had an insane amount of value in terms of closing line value in this draft compared to where these ADPs were a while ago. Plus, we also have Kupp, Waddle, Higgins, wide receiver already. Running back, we have Hall. Quarterback, we have Justin Fields. Now we get the strong tight end as well. I really like this team. I think probably people aren't going to make fun of us for this one. Jonathan Taylor ended up going pick 57, the same pick that we took him in the last one. Booty Madon, longtime member of the flock, says, my team this year is pretty nice. What are you thinking? 12-team PPR where we have Mahomes, Ramondre, Javonte, Jefferson, DJ Moore, Keenan, Kittle, Charbonnet, Khalil Herbert, Alvin Kamara, Deontay, JSN. May get a better running back, but Javonte may pop off. Yeah, so I think in the long term, this team's going to be really good once we have Kamara, JSN back and Javonte Williams expanding his role. The issue is you may struggle a little bit in the short term with Javonte Williams coming off the torn ACL and with Kamara being suspended and with JSN dealing with the wrist injury. But I think as long as we can start off like 2-2 through the first 4 weeks, it's been a pretty good spot in the long term. But Dan says, hey, brother, any new contest on the way on Underdog before the season starts? Obviously, I don't know, my friend. I would imagine that there are. I mean, Underdog last year kept on just churning through new contests. I mean, the weeks leading up, I mean, they had so many freaking puppy drafts. They had so many Chihuahua drafts. Pomeranian drafts that I'd imagine that we get some more Underdog tournaments very, very soon. Or hopefully we get some more Underdog tournaments soon. But Silly Monkey says, out of these three, Garrett, AJ, Amon-Ra, which two should I be targeting? I would rather have AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson between the three, my friend. Dylan asking Montgomery or Breece Hall week 1. I'm actually going to go David Montgomery over Breece Hall for week 1 in particular, my friend. But let's swing this back around. We have Akers off the board, 75. What are we getting here? There are a couple different players that I have in mind. I think we're going to do something that may surprise some people, but we'll see what Coco Palmer does right before us. What are you doing here, my friend? James Conner. Okay, actually, we are going to get Michael Pittman. Never mind. I was thinking about taking a tight end here to pair him up with George Kittle and only draft 2 tight ends through the rest of this draft. But if we're going to get the Michael Pittman value at 78, I mean, I hated Michael Pittman last year, but this year getting him next to someone like Zay Flowers, especially on Underdog, I mean, I really do like this price point. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Jay, who says, 10-team PPR where we have Burrow, Chase stacked up. We have St. Brown, Gibbs, Javonte, Amari, and Njoku. And then on the bench, we have White, Dillon, Pickens, Richardson, Washington's defense, Taysom, Bass. No pickup yet. Drop Taysom Hill, my friend. Drop Taysom Hill, pick up literally anybody else. I mean, with Taysom, maybe he's an intriguing option in best ball like Underdog drafts this offseason. But in your regular redraft league this next year, there's almost no reason to have Taysom Hill, just given the fact that at the end of the day, this is a player that it's going to be almost impossible to figure out when he's actually going to have his spike weeks, right? You'd be excited about Taysom Hill if you could predict when he's going to be good, but good freaking luck doing that, my man. At least I would never be able to. But Massive Matt says, made a couple trades. Can you grade them? Traded Olave for Allen and traded Akers for Swift. Akers for Swift is up to your personal preference. Olave for Allen, I like in a 1 flex league. If it's going to be a multiple flex league, there I don't like it as much. Dalton says, I'm in a 12-team PPR. Quarterback, Watson, Rodgers. Running back, we have Etienne, Aaron Jones, Javonte Hunt. Wide receiver, Chase Evans, CJ Moore, Michael Thomas, Chark, Boyd, Gallup. Tight end, we have Kittle. Drop one of these wide receivers at the very end. Drop DJ Chark or drop Michael Gallup. Pick up another running back off the waiver wire. I mean, we only have 3 running backs on an NFL team right now, my man. I definitely want to have a little more running back depth than that. Overall, I like the squad that we have at the very top end. Just want to fix that overall depth. Okay. Now, Alvin Kamara off the board, 87. Sadly, we are not going to get our tight ends that we were wanting in the last round on the way back around to us. Still not going to be upset with our decision to take Michael Pittman. I think our Michael Pittman pick was the right one. This is a league where we take Dalvin and Breece Hall in the same squad. Generally, I'm not trying to do that in these Best Ball Mania drafts, but I could get a little weird with it. Okay, Rachaad White goes 89. Let's see what Samwise is going to do here. This is a very interesting spot. Dalvin goes, so we're not able to take Dalvin. Let's go Tua. Let's pair him with Waddle. More so just, I don't really know what else we can do in this range. The wide receivers aren't that appealing. The running backs are the same as the guys that we'll have on the way back around. So if we go Tua, we'll definitely be able to lock ourselves into only 2 quarterbacks with Justin Fields and Tua. We don't really need the field stack, as we've already mentioned, given the rushing upside. We get Tua paired up with Jalen Waddle. It's more so a roster construction thing, right? And we know there's no way that we get Tua on the way back around, considering the fact that we would see the Tyreek Hill team most likely take him at either 94 or 99. But Adam says, dynasty running back room of Bijan, Breece, Dobbins, Jacobs, Etienne. Over the last few years, out of the bunch, who would you consider moving for wide receiver depth? Dobbins, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if Dobbins in 2024 is someone we're really not talking about. Haji says, question for Mason in the flock. What's the longest championship streak you've seen in Dynasty? A friend won 3 years in a row in my 12-team Underdog. 3 years in a row is the longest I've seen as well. The thing is, if someone manages to win 4 or 5 years in a row in your Dynasty League, can that Dynasty League continue? Is that something that at that point you possibly have to be worried about and possibly be on the lookout for it folding? Like, I don't know. I would be, if I was looking at a team that was so good in my dynasty league that they were destined to win 5 years in a row, I'd be like, do I really want to be here? What am I doing just paying this guy his salary this year? Okay, let's move this over. Brian Robinson goes, so we cannot take another quarterback here. We are only running back, wide receiver, tight end through the rest of this draft. And Zay says, in a 10-team PPR, would you go Bijan at 5 with Cover Hill available? In a 1-flex league, yes, because you're going to get such strong wide receiver values later. Marcel says, in a 16-team league with only one running back, Dak, Jacobs, Wilson, Higgins, Evans, Schultz, Pierce on the bench. Where to upgrade first tight end, wide receiver 3/running back? Looking for Diggs and Lamb. It's going to be hard to make 2-for-1 deals in a 16-team league. Depth's going to be a little bit more important. It's a league where we have to start a tight end. I would actually be looking to upgrade tight end first. Because I think we're very strong running back, wide receiver. I don't really want to upgrade running back. We have Jacobs. It's a league where we have to start one running back. I think that you are fine just kind of chilling. I'd be more so looking at tight end there, my friend. Okay. Let's go over and check this out. Now, Kyle coming out says, 10-team PPR, keeper, 1 flex, pick 7. We have Chase, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Andrews, Gibbs, Walker, Breece Hall, Drake London, JSN, Jameson, Swift, Daniel Jones, the year 2 tight end, Tennessee, Bryce Young. We have so many freaking rookies here now. I'm fine if you wanted to roster 2 quarterbacks. I don't want to be rostering the second tight end if our first tight end is going to be Andrews. Let's drop the backup tight end. Let's go get a running back off the waiver wire. And also, with Jameson Williams in this league, I actually probably don't want to roster. Unless you can put Jameson Williams on your IR, it looks like you have enough depth, like enough in terms of solid options down there on the bench where we're maybe, on the waiver wire, where we're maybe more inclined to go through and churn that bench spot and see if we can pick up a high upside player off the waiver wire, then burn it the first 6 weeks with Jameson Williams clogging up a roster spot there. So either move Jameson to IR or honestly, I may just cut him as well. Austin says, last time I promised thoughts on this draft, pick 8. Let's go ahead and let's check out Austin's draft. Austin is drafted with us every single draft tonight in the live stream. My man, thank you so much for hopping in these drafts with us. And yes, hopefully you are able to get into our next draft as well. So here we have A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts out the gate. We go Travis Etienne, Drake London, George Pickens, Javonte Goddard. Love the Goddard value that you would get with Hurts, A.J. Brown there. Rashad White, Romeo Doubs. I like it. I just don't want to continuously be reaching on these wide receivers here. Like taking Romeo Doubs at 104. There are going to be a lot of other teams in these underdog best ball tournaments that we're able to go through and get Romeo Doubs at a much cheaper cost. Same thing with like George Pickens. So I'm fine reaching on one of these guys every once in a while, but I don't want to continuously do it through the entire draft. Okay, but let's move this down. Odell Beckham Jr. goes to Crab. We have a bunch of quarterback value falling that we can't take advantage of. Kind of is what it is, right? I mean, we are going to be looking exclusively running back, wide receiver, tight end from here on out. Yeah, Samwise can't really go quarterback either. They have Lamar and Anthony Richardson. Bigsby off the board. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Samaje Perine here. Y'all know I drafted no Samaje Perine this offseason, like we said in the last round, but now that he's fallen down this much, makes sense to mix in some exposure, especially if you look at our running backs with this team, right? I mean, our running backs with this team are guys that we like the upside of in the long term, but in reality, I mean, we're not necessarily going to have a ton of short-term production with Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet. So to get someone that maybe covers the beginning of the season for us, we get some usable weeks out of before those guys break out in the long term, it could help out the squad in reality. I mean, just the quarterbacks is the position that falls, and we can't take quarterback. Derek says in an 8-team league with only one flex, but we start 3 wide receivers. Mahomes, Lamb, Smith, Godwin, Stevenson, Harris, Kelsey. Oh, love the Kelsey Mahomes stack. Ayuk, White, Brown, Montgomery, Dotson, Flowers, literally perfect for this format. 8-team league, we get Kelsey Mahomes. We prioritize running backs, wide receivers with upside, not only in the starting lineup, but all through the bench as well. That's perfect. Kier, remember the flock coming out says, should I trade the first overall spot and my 8th and 9th pick for the 11th overall slot in their 6th and 7th pick? No, hell no. No. Like, generally in your shallow redraft format, you want to be going studs and duds. To sell Justin Jefferson, you need to make sure that someone's overpaying. Nor says start Jamal Williams or Hollywood Brown. Oh, this is an interesting question. I would love if y'all could spam the chat and let me know your thought process here. Week 1, are y'all going to start Jamal Williams with no Alvin Kamara, or are you going to be starting Hollywood Brown? Can y'all please spam the chat? Which direction are you going in, ladies and gentlemen? Are you going Jamal or Hollywood? Okay. Hollywood, Jamal, Hollywood, Jamal. I think you probably go Jamal. I mean, just because you get the guaranteed, and I repeat, I mean, the guaranteed looks there. You have to do it. Now we're going to go Jameson Williams. I understand that we've said all offseason, like in your shallow redraft format, you don't want Jameson Williams because you want to be playing the waiver wire early on in the season. In these underdog drafts, there is no waiver wire. And also in this underdog draft, it's a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize where we're optimizing for weeks 15, 16, 17. So we are going to go through, we are going to take the swing for the player who has the highest ceiling there in those final 3 weeks. So let's go ahead and let's move this down to 126. And we are 1 like away from hitting 1,000 likes on this live stream. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Help us get to 1,000. Be our 1,000th like of the live stream. We're going to be getting into another draft after this one, so don't go anywhere. And of course, if you want to get into our next draft, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the night after that, we're doing it every single night. Find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK. They're going to match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And only with promo code FLOCK on Underdog, you're also going to get an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard week 1 against the Jets. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Now let's move this over. And our next question coming out from Ryan says, 12-team PPR where we have Dak, Lamb, Diggs, Amari, Ramondre, James Conner, Swift, and Penny on the bench, Goddard at tight end. Any tips? No, I love the the Dak, Lamb stack that we have. I like the high upside running backs that we are chasing after. We got to make sure that we are continuing to churn the bench there and making sure that we can cover that RB2 spot because James Conner looks like he may be going downhill quickly with the Cardinals tanking. Ryan says, do you think any of the following would be a reliable wide receiver 3 between Addison, Sutton, Sky Moore? I think you have Sutton as a reliable wide receiver 3 early on in the season with the Jerry Jeudy injury. And I think you have Jordan Addison as a reliable wide receiver 3 later on in the season when he breaks out. Okay. But let's move this down. And Sam Laporta off 135. Laporta not really someone that we are looking at here. Rashee Rice goes 136. Now, we do have Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney has been plummeting down these draft boards as of late. I mean, Darnell Mooney is in play for us here if we wanted to pair him up with Fields. We also don't need a wide receiver, though. So, I mean, but whenever we take Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney falls past ADP. Natural spot for us to go ahead and get our correlation in here. So, we will go ahead, take Darnell Mooney 138.9. There was actually a report coming out that Mooney may be getting traded this next season, which I wouldn't expect, but they were talking about it. And HD Marino, longtime member of the Flock, says, my league's a 12-team app PBR with 20-team rosters. Only one of each position has to start, 3 flex. How do you attack the draft? I'd be slamming wide receivers, my man. If you can start 4 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective, I would try to get a hero RB. And then I would love to go like Bijan Robinson and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, and Calvin Ridley in the following 3 rounds. I think that would make a lot of sense in a league where you only have to start 1 running back, but you can start up to 4 wide receivers. Now, Ted says 12-team app PBR 1 flex. We have Hurts, Bijan, Gibbs, Devonta Smith, Amari, Dobbins, Kincaid. On the bench, we have Juwan Johnson, Mike Williams, Dotson, Brian Robinson, Sutton, and Romeo Doubs. Just don't like rostering this many wide receivers. Like, if you're not starting Mike Williams, if you're not starting Jahan Dotson, what has to happen for you to start Romeo Doubs? I'd just say you cut Romeo Doubs, pick up a running back off the waiver wire that you think has upside. And it's an interesting spot at tight end, like early on. Do you start Juwan Johnson or you start the rookie tight end Dalton Kincaid? So I think Kincaid has a lot of upside later on. It's just very difficult to assume that Kincaid, as a rookie tight end, does anything, not only year one, but particularly at the beginning of the season. Okay, so let's move this over. MVS off the board at 146. And we cannot take quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. We are only running back, wide receiver, tight end. Running back, we are Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet, Samaje Perine. So we definitely have to take 6 RBs at the minimum here. And with Ezekiel Elliott off the board, it looks like running backs aren't going to be too exciting unless we're going to reach on Jeff Wilson. Now, with that being said, obviously Jeff Wilson's seen a bump considering the fact that now you have no possibility of Jonathan Taylor. At least messing with him for the first 4 weeks. We don't know after that. But Coco Palmer on the clock only has 4 wide receivers, so you assume they go wide receiver, but you never know. What are they doing? They go Tajay Spears. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Cole Kmet. We'll get the double stack there in Chicago with Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, and Justin Fields paired up. I'm fine taking Kmet and still getting 3 tight ends later on in this draft if we really, really want to. Obviously, after we go Kmet, I mean, our primary focus is going to be to go through and try to see if we can get some running backs immediately after with how our running back room currently looks. But we're elite at quarterback. We have some pretty damn strong wide receivers. We have, I want to say we can get by with Kittle and Kmet at tight end. It all comes down to, can we find some running backs to hit later on in this draft? Now, our next question coming out from Brian says, advice for the squad in a 10-team PPR league where we have Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman, Andrews, James Cook, Jerry Jeudy, JSN, Brian Robinson, Gabe Davis, Jalen Warren, Romeo Doubs, Dalton Kincaid. If we have Kincaid, there's no reason to be rostering him behind Mark Andrews. Generally, I'd love to pair up Dalton Kincaid and see if we can package him with, CeeDee Lamb to get to Stephon Diggs to pair up with Josh Allen. Or go like Kincaid and Brian Robinson to get a better running back in return. Just especially in a 10-team league. I don't necessarily know if we need to be rostering a backup tight end after Andrews. Even though, obviously, we are solid elsewhere. But Elijah says, in a 10-team league with only 1 flex, we have Fields, JT, Walker, Kupp, Diggs, Olave, Schultz, Ayuk, Mike Williams, JSN, Addison, Charbonnet, Bigsby. What do I do with the JT news? I think we trade a wide receiver for a running back here. We have Kupp, Diggs, Olave. Ayuk's our wide receiver 4. Mike Williams, wide receiver 5. JSN, wide receiver 6. Addison, wide receiver 7. I think we trade Ayuk and Mike Williams in a package for the best running back we can get, my friend. I think we kind of have to. Okay, now Gerald Everett, Jake Ferguson, both off the board. Swing this back around. So Jordan Love's still available. Let's make sure we do not auto-draft Jordan Love in this draft. But let's grab one of, I guess we don't even have a running back that's too exciting for us here. Just make sure we grab one of these guys and send up a prayer that our running back makes it back to us. These teams in front of us only have 4 RBs as well. I wonder if they go ahead and reach on an RB. Is there someone that took a ridiculous amount of them? Coco Palmer took 6. Who's taking all these RBs? Alec Pierce. I'm not excited about any of these wide receivers. So we will go ahead. We'll take Andre Miller. Interesting spot pairing him up. A similar situation to what we have with some of these other running backs that we have, where maybe you like the long-term talent, but in terms of the short-term situation, not great. Now, maybe he does something in the first 3 weeks, considering the injury that we have. I'm sorry, not the injury, the suspension that we have with Alvin Kamara. But still not necessarily a spot that we're super excited about, right? But, yeah, here wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Higgins, Pittman, Jamison Williams, Darnell Mooney. Running back, we have Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet, Samaje Perine, Condre Miller. Quarterback, we have Fields double stacked with Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. We have Tua stacked up with Jalen Waddle. And tight end, we have George Kittle and Cole Kmet. Okay. But Pally says, how's the team in a 12-team format where we went Bijan, Hurts, Christian Watson, Olave, Stevenson, Ingram, Kenneth Walker, and then on the bench, we have Bigsby, Devon Achane, Condre Miller, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, Rashee Rice. It's a 2-player keeper league. We got Stevenson and Olave around 8. Okay, that makes so much more sense, my man, because I was sitting here going, how the hell do we have all this value? I mean, I was walking through the draft, and I was like, okay, well, we went Bijan round 1, I guess. Then afterwards, we went Jalen Hurts round 2. We got Chris Olave round 3. Then did Stevenson somehow make it to us round 4? Walker somehow. Great team. Love to see it, my man. I really like the construction overall as well. I mean, if we could take a depth piece and like take Bigsby, pair him up with Evan Ingram, trade him to a Jags fan, see if we can get Dallas Goedert in return to pair up with Jalen Hurts. I think that could be appealing. Logwood says Fields, Pollard, Dobbins, Hill, Olave, Andrews, Amari. And then on the bench, we have London, Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell, Zach Charbonnet, Tony Gibson, Kyler on the IR. Like Kyler on the IR if he's not wasting a spot for us. Great team. I think down there on the bench, I mean, we are going through and we are trying to optimize for upside, not necessarily caring about the floor of those players, which is exactly what we want to do, especially when we have the elite level quarterback and the elite level tight end as well. So from a construction standpoint, I think it makes a ton of sense, and that's the main thing that we're concerned with. Okay, we're 3 picks away, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's going to happen here. We still need RB help, clearly. Shaheed off the board at 171. Okay. What is happening here? Devontae Parker goes. Do we take a wide receiver on a tanking team that's like 5'8"? I think that's what we are going to do. We're going to go ahead and take Rondale Moore. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get another draft going for y'all. But if I'm going to do that, I do have to go pee real quick. So give me 1 second. I'll be back in a second. We're going to hop into another fantasy football draft right after. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we will stay because I think we kind of need to see who our last 3 running backs are going to be. I mean, once we go with Rondale Moore here, we can't take another wide receiver. I mean, we pretty much are pot committed to going with 6 RBs with this team. So actually, no, let's go ahead and let's just get into another draft. I mean, I'll tell y'all who our 3 running backs are going to be. We'll go ahead and we'll queue those guys up on my phone right now so I make sure that we're not going to be missing them. So we're going to get in another Best Ball Mania draft. You already know, largest tournament on the planet, $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, $3 million for first place. Okay, but what is happening? Okay, we're going to be at pick 4. Interesting spot. So we're not going to have to be tempted with Jonathan Taylor at the 5-6 turn like we did earlier, ladies and gentlemen. So we will be saved from ourselves, and we will be able to hopefully grab instead players that will play this season and score points for us instead of just making us cry the entire time. But let's go ahead and let's get over to this next question coming out from Mike. It says 12-team app BBR, where we have Lawrence, Bijan, Aaron Jones, James Cook, Gibson, Warren, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Ayuk, Flowers, forced to punt on tight end, offered Goddard for Gibson. Yes or no? Hell yeah, go ahead and make that move, my man. I think that makes so much freaking sense with this team. Love to see that. And Kareem says 10-team PBR, tight end premium, 1 flex. We have Allen, Bijan, Barkley, Andrews. 10-team league, 1 flex. We know we're going to get wide receiver values later on. We get the elite running backs. We get the elite tight end. We get the elite quarterback. Beautiful. Asking to trade for a wide receiver, or will ours pull through? No, you have great wide receivers here. That's the thing about going through. And if you're going to be outscoring all your league mates at running back, quarterback, and tight end, and you still have enough production to go around at wide receiver. Okay. Let's smooth this over. You have Chase going off the board here at 2. CMC goes 3. We're going to take Tyreek Hill here at 4, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we've been taking Tyreek over Kupp all offseason. Tyreek averaged 108 receiving yards per game with Tua last year. He's going to be in a much better offense than what you have with Los Angeles this next season. So I think it does make sense for us to go ahead and just pull the trigger on Tyreek Hill. Okay. You coming over here? I know. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Come on. You can come here. I know. I'm so excited to say hi. Say hi. Yeah, what do you think? Tyreek Hill round 1's pretty decent? Tyreek Hill round 1's good? What do you think? I know. You're a good girl. Okay, I'll get you back. Okay. Now, after we go Tyreek, you do see Kupp, Kelsey, Diggs. Bijan makes it down to 8 in this draft. Nick Chubb goes before Eckler. This is the first time I've seen that in a long time. Actually, did that happen in the last draft? Generally never see that happen, though. Pedro coming out says, Fields, Pollard, Etienne, Kupp, Smith, Freiermuth with Watson at the flex. Dylan, Sky Moore, Kincaid on the bench. Any tips? I'm actually fine if we roster Kincaid with Freiermuth. Great team. If we could potentially go through and sell like Christian Watson and Justin Fields and get back like Jalen Hurts, I think it makes sense. But I mean, I'm grasping at straws here. It's a great squad. Okay. Now, CeeDee Lamb makes it to round 2 yet again. Ricardo says, pick 6, I'm going to go Kelsey. Round 2, should I go Adams or Jacobs? Okay. If it's a half PBR format and you only have one flex, I think you go Jacobs. However, if you have multiple flexes there, I am not as worried about running back depth, and I go with Adams, but one flex, you can go Jacobs. Parker says, how's our team, 10-team, full PBR, Tua, White, James Cook, Kupp, Chase, Lamb, Freiermuth, and Dotson at the flex? I'm not a big fan in the 10-team league. Obviously, we're elite at wide receiver. I mean, it really comes down to, actually, I guess if you start 3 wide receivers in that league, I like it. If you start 3 wide receivers, I like it. If it's only a start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, then probably not. Okay, the other team, ladies and gentlemen, just to keep you posted. Have we found good running backs? The simple answer to that question is no, we have not. Okay, Mahomes goes 19. Ooh. Never mind. I thought we were going to be able to pair up. No, we'll go Olave. I thought we were going to be able to pair up Tyreek and Waddle, which would have been very interesting. And just go through and make one massive bet on the Miami Dolphins this next season. Would have been interesting. Would have been. Jalen Hurts goes 22. Y'all know we almost took Jalen Hurts in the last round. I mean, it is a tough spot. I mean, it would have been easy for me to pass on Jalen Hurts if Mahomes had not already gone. But once Mahomes goes, you're like, okay, the probability I get Jalen Hurts on the way back around in round 3, we know it's going to be just inherently a lot lower than it otherwise would. So yeah, it's a tough spot now. Interesting to see that team take Devonta Smith at 23, despite Jalen Hurts already being off the board. Joe says 12-team PBR where we have Lawrence, Tyreek, Ridley, Hopkins, Goddard, Montgomery, Jamal with JT on the IR, and Zeke, Pirine, Bigsby on the bench. What the hell do I do with JT? I don't know, my man. I'm in that same boat with you. I think we're going to be fine early on because we have Jamal. I'd like that we're rostering just as many running backs as freaking possible. We just got to get by for the first month. If we get by for the first month and we start off 2-2, I think you'll be happy. Okay, so we get very lucky here, ladies and gentlemen. We get Josh Allen making it back around to us. I mean, I was very concerned once you had Jalen Hurts going at 22 that we weren't going to get our elite level quarterback round 3. Y'all know generally based off how the teardrops are, I do really like grabbing one of these QBs, whether or not that's Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, or Josh Allen in round 3, because I think the running back wide receivers here aren't that much worse than the guys that you're going to have rounds 4, 5, 6. But yeah, it is what it is. Now, Greg coming out says, I have pick 4 tomorrow in a 12-team full BBR double flex. Assuming Jefferson, CMC, Chase are all gone, who are you taking? I actually probably don't go Kelsey if it's going to be a 12-team double flex format, because it will be a little bit harder to find running back wide receiver value later on. Now that you can't, and now that Indianapolis doesn't have a starter you can play, you may actually go Bijan Robinson or Austin Eckler, your favorite between the two. You may want to actually bump up running backs. And LJ says, in an 8-team 1 flex, Mahomes, Kelsey, JT, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Amari, Miles Sanders, Sutton, Cook, Pierce, Michael Thomas, Hollywood, thoughts/trades. You don't want to be rostering all these depth wide receivers in an 8-team league. In an 8-team league, there will always be a wide receiver you can pick up off the waiver wire and play. Love that we have Kelsey, Mahomes, those, but now that we have no JT for the first month, I definitely think that we need to be going through and looking to just drop some of those guys at the bottom end, such as Thomas, and go see if we can get some running backs off the waiver wire. Now, AJ says, was low on running backs, traded Kelsey and P. Ryan for Henry and Kittle. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, my man. Cam says, it's me again, bro. Still got Mahomes. Someone sent me to trade Allen and Dameon Pierce for Taylor, Zeke, and Burrow. They want Allen already. Okay, so we're essentially trading Jonathan Taylor for Josh Allen, Ezekiel Elliott and Joe Burrow for Dameon Pierce. We don't want Burrow in return. Get back an elite level running back. I know we have Josh Allen and Mahomes on the same team, so obviously we're really going to sell him. But yeah, you want a better price point than that. Now, Justin Fields off 37. We are 1 like away from hitting 1,100 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So please, make sure you go down there and drop a like on the stream. And of course, if you want to get into our next draft, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, the night after, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball tournaments, so no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 on Underdog last year. Not meant to replace your main fantasy football league, just meant to be some extra fun on the side. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And only with promo code FLOCK on Underdog, ladies and gentlemen, are you also going to be getting the Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard this next season. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Now, Taylor goes pick 40. So we took Taylor twice in tonight's live streams. We took him at pick 57 and we took him at pick 61. There, I got roasted for taking him. Every other draft, we've seen him go earlier. Well, I'm interested to see where he goes after the dust is all settled. I'm interested to see where he's going tomorrow. Christian Watson goes 43. But Avery says 10-team league where we have Lamar, Hall, St. Brown, Hopkins, Andrews. Love the Lamar Andrews stack here. Ayuk, Pickens, Brian Robinson, Addison, Elijah Moore, Warren, Devon Achane, Bigsby. Any advice? Nope, perfect situation. I mean, we're rostering the high upside running backs at the very end of the bench. I mean, we have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end. We have some solid wide receivers. A great team, my man. From a roster construction, that is like a picture perfect squad. Now, let's go ahead. Let's take Drake London. There are a couple different guys that we can be looking at on the way back around. I love London, the talent. Obviously, the issue that you have with Drake London is not the player. The issue that you have with Drake London is just the overall volume that you should see in this offense. I mean, it should most likely be the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. For that reason, not super pumped to go through and get these guys such as Kyle Pitts, Drake London, except when we're getting Kyle Pitts behind Zay Flowers. And of course, he's probably one of the best values in fantasy football drafts. But we'll still go ahead and we'll take him at 45. Now, I know who we want at 52, and I think there's a pretty strong shot we get him. But Packer fan says traded Daniel Jones for Justin Fields. Oh, beautiful. Also have Mixon, Jefferson, Olave, London with Pitts at tight end. No, I think you're in a great spot. I'm assuming that you're playing with a massive New York Giants fan, because I have no idea who the hell is trading Daniel Jones for Justin Fields. Okay. But extended coming out, it's the standard 12-team PPR where we have Herbert, Eckler, Etienne, Waddle, Godwin, Schultz, Flexes Hollywood. And then on the bench, we have Pittman, Brian Robinson, Quentin Johnson, Elijah Mitchell, Jameson Williams, Alec Pierce, Rashad Bateman. What are your thoughts? We just can't be rostering this many wide receivers in a league. You only start 2 and 1 flex. I mean, I think you want to go through and let go of at least one of these guys. Like, drop Alec Pierce and instead go pick up just a running back off the waiver wire. Go get Hunt. Go get Fournette. Go get someone that has some upside. I think it would also be interesting to possibly pivot over to a Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver if we're already betting on this Chargers offense, right? Like, only having to get that one bet right. Like, if we were to go through and say sell Godwin and get Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, I think that could also be interesting. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Kenneth Walker here at 52. I do really like the Kenneth Walker price point overall. I mean, it'd be a little bit different, of course, if with Kenneth Walker, this is a running back that we were having to take in round 3. I mean, he actually opened up these drafts back in April at the 3-4 turn. Clearly, you need to be somewhat concerned about Zach Charbonnet, but at this price point, I mean, I'm going to be completely fine with it. Okay. Let's smooth this over. We have Justin Herbert going 56. And Joshua says 103 in a $500 12-team full PPR league with 3 wide receivers and a flex was offered a swap for the 107 plus a late round. His 8th for my hell no. Keep the 103. The last thing y'all want to be doing is going and falling back in the first round so you can move up from like the 10th to the 8th. You want to be the guy making this deal. Like, go offer that same person your 2nd round pick to move up to his 1st and tell him he can move up from his 10th to your 6th, you know? I mean, in a shallow redraft format, that's what we're looking to do. Now, Boyd coming out says Dynasty 18 League where we have Burrow, Tyreek, Waddle, Ridley, Ramondre, Jacobs, Dobbins, Freiermuth, autoed auction draft, trade Tyreek and Pat for A.J. Brown and Kittle. Dynasty, Pat, Kittle, kind of going to be the same tier. I'd rather have Tyreek. Nah, I'd rather have A.J. Brown over Tyreek. Honestly, I think that will be your personal preference, my man. I think that you are ready to contend this next year, but obviously we don't want to push all in and just completely disregard long-term value. Okay. Now moving over, Jay Espinosa says, hey Mason, what do you think about my team in a 12-team full PPR where we have Hurts, Henry, Pollard, Smith, Hopkins, Ingram, and at the flex, Madison? Love the Hurts-Smith pairing. Overall, I mean, it's hard to get me to say I don't like a Jalen Hurts team. It's hard to get me to say I don't like that. Miguel says, I pick 7 in a double flex league. What's the strategy? Stay flexible. I'd be looking to possibly go with an elite level wide receiver if they fall deal like Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. And Cove Nation coming out says 12-team pick 12. We have Barkley, Garrett Wilson, Ramondre, Herbert, Ayuk, Pitts, Charbonnet, Zay Flowers, Treylon Burks, and Kirk Cousins. I'm assuming that's Khalil Herbert. Don't love our running back too. Don't love our quarterback play either. Obviously, we're lead at the top end. If we could take like a depth wide receiver like Treylon Burks, pair him with Khalil Herbert to move to a running back like Dameon Pierce, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Okay, let's move this over. So Gabe Davis obviously in play for us here where we decided to go through and take Josh Allen in round 3. By no means do we have to take Gabe Davis at 69. I mean, there's a decent probability he makes it back around to you in round 7 if you're the Josh Allen team and you pass on him at the end of the 6th. But Waga on the clock. Goes J.K. Dobbins, 67. We have Tyreek, Olave, London holding down the fort at wide receiver. I mean, so we're pretty damn strong at wide receiver. Sanders goes, we're going to get Evans and roll the dice that we get Gabe Davis on the way back around. A big reason why Gabe Davis's ADP is where it's at is because the Josh Allen team tends to reach on him in round 6, where a lot of times you will get Gabe Davis on the way back around in round 7. Clearly does not work where that team that has 0 RBs decides to take Gabe Davis there as their wide receiver 5. It is what it is. Josh Allen, I still think, has the elite weekly ceiling, even if you don't see one of his wide receivers spike, given his overall rushing ability. But Owen says 10-team standard 3-keeper league. I have Jefferson, Eckler, Olave. I have the 3rd pick from a trade in the 11th. Do I go Kelsey, Hurts, or Barkley, A.J. Brown? 10-team league, if it's only one flex and we're already elite at quarterback, wide receiver, probably go Kelsey out the gate. I'd probably go Jalen Hurts as well. I mean, if you have Jefferson, Eckler, Olave, and you add in Travis Kelce, Jalen Hurts, who's competing with that? Now, Zay Flowers goes 75. Kyle Pitts off the board as well. I think we may actually end up reaching here. Actually, no, let's just take James Cook, right? James Cook can be involved as a receiver. He does correlate somewhat with Josh Allen. Obviously not as well as what you would see with like Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, Gabe Davis, but it still gets the job done for us to have some correlation. We get him past ADP. We need a running back. Let's go ahead and let's take him. We can reach on one of those other guys that we like in another draft. But Gabe says, what's the best strategy for a 12-team PPR one flex league? If it's going to be a league with only one flex, generally you're going to be wanting to push up quarterbacks and tight ends as you're going to make up a higher percentage of your starting lineup output overall. But Michael Pittman off the board, 77. Hollywood Brown goes 78. And ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream and subscribe to the channel. I mean, we've gone through and we have live streamed every single day for now at this point, 123 days in a row. And we are not going to miss a single day of live streaming until 2024. So if somehow you have not hit that like button or subscribe, make sure you fix your life. Now, 2X says, thoughts, 9th pick, double flex. We have Herbert, Kupp, Adams, Andrews, Sanders, Kamara, Hopkins, Dobbins, using Williams. Okay, if we have Jamal here, I think that we're in a very good spot. Obviously, we just need to be playing the waiver wire in terms of hopefully finding an option for us in the long term. I mean, I think that it makes sense for us to go after and chase the elite level wide receivers, however, knowing that we have 2 flex spots. We are able to go through and start 2 guys there, right? Now, Smitty City says, in a 12-team redraft PPR, we have Tyreek, Jacobs, Smitty, Hall, Pacheco, Goddard, Williams, Tua, Johnson, Algier, Bateman, Bigsby, Devon Achane, George Pickens. Make any moves? I would love to get Jalen Hurts if we already have Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith. If we could take like Tua and Breece Hall and make a move for Jalen Hurts, I know it's going to be hard. I understand we have Tua stacked up with Tyreek. I just think it makes so much sense. Kieran, long time member of the flock, says, we back flock. Bro, remember when 100 likes was mind-blowing. Stoked you were crushing the game. Best fantasy footballer out here. Have a water break. No, thank you so much. Remember you coming out and telling us to have a water break. Let me go ahead and make sure you're a moderator in here. I have no idea how the hell you're not a moderator. I'd assume that you would have been. Let me fix that. Thank you so much, my friend. And we have almost drank all our water. We have made it through this mason jar. And this bad boy is big. Look at it compared to my head. We made it through this bad boy. And we got a little bit left in this one. Kobe says, Higgins, Metcalf, Najee, or Breece in a full... you're going to go Higgins, Metcalf, and Najee. You're not going to take Breece there. Okay. Sutton off the board, 87. You have DeAndre Swift going 86. Smooth this back around. Nick says, 12-team full PPR, Cousins, Pollard, Madison, Diggs, Olave, Andrews, Deontay, Pittman, Bigsby, Anthony Richardson. What are your thoughts? I actually don't mind rostering 2 quarterbacks if they are Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson. I think that makes some sense. We have the elite wide receivers. We have the elite tight end. I would love to see us package together like Deontay Johnson, Alexander Madison for a running back upgrade, but outside of that, I really like it. Okay, now Quentin Johnson off the board at 89. 44 MSU says, 10-team PPR, we have Bijan, Barkley, Waddle, Ridley, Amari, Pitts, Tua. And then on the bench, we have Daniel Jones. I think that makes sense to roster those 2 quarterbacks. Deontay, Flowers, Kenneth Walker, Michael Thomas. Is this a league winner if Pitts doesn't hit? I'm trying to think of anything we can do. I mean, you have such good running backs, wide receivers down there. I think that honestly, if we could go through and trade like Kenneth Walker and Tua to get a quarterback we're a little more excited about, I would like that. Like if we could get one of the big 5 by making that deal, then I think, yeah, that team would be unstoppable. But Khalil Herbert off the board, 91. Okay, Captain Clutch, what are you doing here? such a tough spot where here, I mean, nobody looks that good. Like the wide receivers are garbage. Evan Ingram's not going to change my overall draft strategy. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to get a quarterback that has an elite level ceiling, right? We're going to take Watson just because the opportunity cost is not exact. Like, I don't care about passing on Sky Moore. I don't care about passing on Michael Thomas. Deshaun Watson can be a top 3 overall scorer in fantasy this next season. So we will go Watson. We'll figure it out afterwards. Christopher says, 10-team standard league. I have Chase, Lamar, Godwin, Hall, Connor, Goddard, Ayuk, Davis, Dillon, Kamara, Achane, Mitchell, Tony, JT on the IR with Deion Jackson. Who should I be targeting in trades? So, I mean, yeah, we really just need to get by at the beginning of the season. I mean, we are in a very good spot. I would just say, in general, once we get Jonathan Taylor back and we have the overall depth through the rest of the roster again, then at that point, if we can make a 2-for-1 deal by selling like Alvin Kamara and Dallas Goedert to go get like Mark Andrews, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But we do really need to just sit here and we need to wait until we have JT and Alvin Kamara back. I mean, you can't really make a 2-for-1 deal until we have those running backs back and producing for us. Now, Dylan off 98s. Johnny Dollar only has 2 wide receivers. You assume they go ahead and take a wide receiver here. Their 2 guys being Keenan Allen and Zay Flowers. The question is, which wide receiver do they look at? They go Michael Thomas, so we'll take Sky Moore. I mean, Sky Moore fallen considerably past ADP here. I haven't taken Sky Moore a lot over the past month just because how damn expensive he is now, but it is what it is. He has a shot to be the wide receiver 1 for Patrick Mahomes, right? By no means do I think he is super likely to be that. I think it's kind of a toss-up between Tony, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, like I said, all offseason. But if you're in that elite level offense, we still kind of need a wide receiver. Nobody else is that exciting. We will go ahead and pull the trigger. I mean, he was the best player available according to ADP when we were on the clock in 93. Now, Weston says, just finished drafting a 10-team PPR. What are you thinking? We have Lawrence, Brian Robinson, Walker, Breece Hall, Khalil Herbert. Wide receiver, we have Metcalf, Higgins, Lockett, JSN, Myers. Tight end, okay. Was going to be worried until we had Travis Kelce. But now that seeing that we have Kelce, I think we're in a great spot. I think once JSN looks like he's going to be closer to returning, I wouldn't mind trying to trade Lockett and a running back like Brian Robinson and a 2-for-1 deal to get an upgrade elsewhere. And honestly, pretty good thing that we went and took Sky Moore, because if you look at the wide receivers that are going immediately after, you have Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster all off the board here. And Compton aces in a 14-team app PBR format. I had the 11th pick. We have MVP Patrick Mahomes. Love to see it. We got Gibbs, Swift, Hopkins, Deontay Musgrave, Evans, Toney. And then on the bench, we have Pacheco, Knox, Hardman, Curtis Samuel, Dobbs, and Rashee Rice. We just can't be rostering this many wide receivers. We have 1 running back on the bench with Isaiah Pacheco. Outside of that, we are only going through and playing wide receivers. So if we just look at the amount of roster spots we're spending on wide receiver versus running back in this format, we have Hopkins, Deontay, Evans, Toney, Hardman, Curtis Samuel, Romeo Dobbs, Rashee Rice. We have 8 wide receivers. Running back, we're sitting with Gibbs, Swift, Pacheco. We have 3. So we have to go through. We have to pick a couple of these wide receivers at the bottom end of this roster, my man, and just get rid of and go through and get some running backs that you think have upside off the waiver wire. So I'll be looking at, my man. Had Schmucks in the league, hence the status. The squad is stacked. Love to see it, my man. Love to see it. Now, quarterbacks going off the board. Going to be great for us, right? Whenever we have Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson here. I mean, generally, that's going to be like the only thing that we kind of want to see. And a bunch of running back values making it back around here, 117. Antonio Gibson goes 115. Captain Clutch stealing the pick. That would have made this a beautiful roster. Going through and taking Dalton Kincaid from us, where we could have paired up Dalton Kincaid with Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, David Njoku, that is. We're going to take Dalton Kincaid here and pair him up with Josh Allen. But, if we would have had Njoku falling one more pick, that would have been beautiful. And yeah, we will go Kincaid. We'll just go and get the Josh Allen stack. I mean, all these running backs are in such a flat tier. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Captain Clutch, my man. You're really doing it to us? We had $3 million this close. We were this close to $3 million. Hey, speak to my lawyers. Speak to my lawyers. Now, I'm going to reach on Elijah Mitchell. I understand it's a reach. I get it, but I don't care. He's the guy that I prefer in this range. We need a running back. I think he gets some usable action with Christian McCaffrey healthy, but at the same time, I think that you have a very high ceiling if CMC were to go down. So I think it does make a lot of sense for us to go ahead and pull the trigger here on a running back like Elijah Mitchell. Now, Bonk says in a double flex 10-team league, we have Allen, Chase, Higgins, Smith, Walker, Goddard, Kirk, Pierce, Odell, Sutton, Khalil Herbert, Charbonnet, Deontay. Great team overall. League quarterback, tight end that I really like, focusing on wide receiver, running back depth in a double flex league. Makes a lot of sense. James says Kirk, Bijan, Adams, Waddle, Sanders, Andrews, Watson, Dotson, Gibson, JSN, Charbonnet, Algier, Richardson. Got Kirk in the 13th in a 6-point passing touchdown format. Honestly, in a 6-point passing touchdown league, I'm going to be a little bit less excited about Anthony Richardson there than I would be in a 4-point passing touchdown format. You're excited about Richardson in a 4-point passing touchdown format, just given the rushing upside and what that means for him. But I would actually look to sell Anthony Richardson once he breaks out in that 6-point passing touchdown league. But James says in an 18 PPR league before news, picked up JT in the 8th. What the hell? After getting Tyreek, Kelsey, Garrett Wilson, Hurts, Ridley, Aaron Jones, Madison, pick JT over Connor. No, phenomenal draft, phenomenal team, phenomenal pick. Love it. And ladies and gentlemen, I drank all 3 of these waters, so I'm about to piss myself. We're going to end this live stream. But thank you again so much for being a member of the flock and hanging out with us. Really hope y'all enjoyed this live stream. And as always, I'll be live tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. So if you want to get into our next draft, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat description, comment section. Promo code FLOCK will get you 100% a positive match. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And also, only with promo code FLOCK on Underdog are you going to get set up with an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em week 1, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets. And also, I got y'all set up with 3 of those extra pick'ems this year. So please make sure you are taking advantage. Work my butt off to get it for y'all. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate y'all, and I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.